Hokage hundreds of millions of rewards, Chapter 41-60. Chapter 41 Anyone can go, Cardo must die. Seeing this scene, Shiyu also said. Teacher Kakashi, this group of thugs is handed over to me and Sasuke. By the way, let you see the results of our practice this week. Well. Just as Tokyo and Sasuke were about to move, a voice suddenly came from behind. And me. Voice fell, and with a whoosh sound, a figure appeared in front of Shiyu and the others. The visitor is none other than Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto, c. After a handsome debut, Naruto did not forget to return a classic pretending quote. In this regard, Kakashi et al. Are quite speechless. If they didn't know each other, they would be embarrassed to say that they knew this funny. Seeing Naruto, Dishonor hurriedly asked, Naruto, are Tsunami and Inari okay? Don't worry, Uncle Dishonor, they are both fine, the two villains were thrown down by me at once. Hey. Naruto in the conversation looked very accomplished, because this time he not only saved Tsunami's mother and son. Moreover, let Inari come out from the shadow of the death of his stepfather. However, it is thanks to the note that Shiyu left behind. Otherwise, I would have arrived here long ago. Hearing Naruto's words, Dishonor also looked at Naruto and Shiyu. Thank you so much. Uncle Dasna, our mission is to protect you, it's just a little effort. Naruto nodded in agreement. Just as Dishonor was moved, another voice came from behind. And us. After hearing the words, Shiyu and the others turned to look, and a group of people instantly came into their field of vision. No accident, they are all residents of this island. Standing in the center of this group of residents are Tsunami and Inari mother and son. There is no doubt that they inspired the residents of the island to resist together. With Shiyu, Kasase and others in the lineup, they finally burst out their suppressed emotions. Kado, get out of this island. Yes, if you dare to come to this island again, then we will use all the power on the island to make you come and go. Get out now. Seeing this, Kakashi asked subconsciously, Naruto, shouldn't this be your idea? Kakashi knew Naruto, and the latter's IQ would definitely not have thought of this level, so a face had already appeared in his mind. No. Naruto denied it, and then said, it was Tokyo who asked me to tell Inari. Hearing this, Kakashi was dumbfounded again. Looking at Shiyu is like looking at a monster. Not only is he extremely smart, but he also has the right control of human nature, and he sees it so thoroughly. Knowing how to give these disturbed islanders some guidance at the right time can help them see hope and regain their self-confidence. Seeing the residents of the Land of Waves who are united, Cardo panicked for a while. Boss Cardo, there are so many people on the other side, I think it's better this time. It's not good if you have any problems. Yeah, they still have ninjas, heroes don't suffer from immediate losses. Cardo, who was already a little flustered, also had the intention of retreating after hearing everyone's advice. He is a top rich man, there is no need to joke about his life. As long as the green hills are there, he still understands the truth of not being afraid of running out of firewood. You wait for me. Sooner or later, your life and death will be controlled by my master. Today, I will let you go, Withdraw. Cardo, who had finished speaking, was about to turn around and leave, but at this moment, a sound rang out, making their raised footsteps froze in the air. Anyone can go, but Cardo must die. When the voice fell, everyone was startled. Not only the outlaws on Cardo's side, but even the islanders of the Land of Waves looked surprised. Little brother Shiyu, what are you doing? For Dasna's puzzlement, Shiyu also analyzed. Kobo is a human being, and you all know that if you let him leave today, it will be a return to the mountain. Not to mention that he will make a comeback in the future, and other places like your country of waves will suffer his murderous hands, so. This kind of person is also a scourge to stay in the world, only to get rid of it. No way. First, In order to complete the tasks of the system and completely liberate the Land of Waves, Shiyu had to do something. Second, Shiyu couldn't get used to Cardo's arrogant appearance. He had also threatened to kill their group before, but Shiyu couldn't swallow this breath alone. The so-called murderers are always killed. This is the purpose of Shiyu. After hearing what Shiyu said, the islanders of the Land of Waves felt that it was not unreasonable, and immediately agreed. Yes, Cardo must die. Must die. Quote. Hearing the overwhelming voice, Rao Cardo's temperament was also a little flustered, because he had never seen such a scene before. He has been domineering for many years, and no one has ever resisted him. It was already humiliating enough to retreat today. Who would have thought that these islanders would still leave his life behind? Don't go too far. I really thought I was afraid that you wouldn't succeed. If you really want to fight, you don't know who will die. It was obvious from Cardo's tone that he panicked. His expression at the moment was no longer as calm as before, and some were just endless panic. This is the first time in his life that he has such a look. Really? Shiyu sneered, and immediately cast the multiple shadow clone technique. Bang, bang, bang. An instant, the entire bridge was almost occupied by Tokiyu's shadow clone, and Tokiyu's voice sounded slowly. What about now? Chapter 42 Tokiha Bridge. Seeing this scene, Cardo was instantly dumbfounded. Not only him, but even the desperados behind him are confused. They know that ninjas are very strong. But I didn't expect it to be so strong. The other party has hundreds of people in an instant. How can they fight, take the head to fight? At this time, the dozens of desperados instantly had the intention of retreating, and they had no desire to fight at all. Listen, hand over Cardo if you want to live. Otherwise, don't even want to leave. Hearing Shiyu's words, Cardo panicked. And the dozens of desperados are also you look at me, I look at you, as if to determine the answer in their hearts. Cardo saw that the situation was wrong and wanted to get on the boat and escape. However, it was discovered. Kado, where to go? As one of them shouted violently, the eyes of all the desperados were locked on Cardo. Boss Cardo, I'm sorry. Boss Cardo, sacrificing you alone can save all of us, and you are not at a loss. Yes, you have done all the bad things in your life, and you have a rare chance to do good things today, so don't run away. Quote. The voice fell, and dozens of desperados joined forces to capture Cardo. This is the effect that sometimes feathers want. Being sent to the guillotine by the person he hired, Cardo was undoubtedly aggrieved and desperate. Don't kill me. I can give you all my property, please let me go. In the face of Kado's tail wagging and begging, the residents of the island country were indifferent at all, because Kado killed their hero Gaisha alive in front of the people of the island. Gaisha, Inari's stepfather. It is also because of this that they have long hated Cardo, and naturally they will not shake their determination to hate because of money. As for the outlaws, though they love money, but compared with life, it will be meaningless. No matter how much money there is, what is the use of enjoying it without life? Ah! With a terrified wailing sound, Cardo was directly stabbed through the heart by a desperado. To the death, he never thought that he would end up like this. As the outlaw pulled out the broadsword, Cardo also knelt down to the residents of the Land of Waves. It looks like repentance. If there is a chance, he will never take action against the country of waves. Seeing this scene, Dishonor and the others also had an inexplicable emotion in their hearts, because Gai-san's great revenge was avenged. And those desperados hurriedly boarded the boat and fled, for fear that Shiyu would be unhappy and destroy them all. With Cardo's death, the country of waves is finally liberated. Because of this, the sound of the system also sounded. Ding! The liberation of the Land of Waves mission is complete. Next. It was the cheers of the residents of the Land of Waves, but it was more of their gratitude to Shiyu. If it wasn't for Shiyu, they wouldn't have resisted. If it wasn't for Shiyu, the country of waves would not have been liberated. In short, Shiyu has now become their hero. Seeing this scene, Naruto also said to Inari, "Look, I said that there are heroes in this world." Inari nodded heavily and said, "He is a great hero just like my father." Between the words, his eyes fell. Ying Shiyu's figure seemed to be beating with an inexplicable flame. That's the fire of faith. It is also the fire of hope. ... With the end of the Cardo affair, the life of the entire country of waves is much more comfortable than before. 2 weeks later. With the joint efforts of everyone, the bridge, which was about to be completed, was finally completed. In order to thank Shiyu and his party for their help, at Dasner's suggestion, they named the bridge Shiyu Bridge. No one objected to this. Because Shiyu is their recognized hero, without the latter, there would be no current country of waves. On the second day after the construction of the Shiyu Bridge was completed, it was the day that Tokyo and the others left the Land of Waves. When leaving, Tsunami did not forget to say, "Shiyu, and everyone, remember to come to the country of waves when you have time. Inari likes you very much." Between the words, Tsunami still had a sweet smile on her face, the kind that made people fascinated and longed for. Immediately after, under the gaze of all the residents of the Land of Waves, Tokyo and his party left the bridge that had just been completed. And the reluctant Inari could not help but shed tears. The hero in his heart is gone. ... A few days later, Shiyu and his party finally returned to Konoha. This mission lasted nearly a month, which made them miss the days in Konoha very much. The first thing Tokiha and Naruto did when they came back was to go to Ichiraku Noodle House to eat ramen. The so-called Uncle Ichiraku, whose real name is Handa, also has a beautiful daughter, Ayame. However, what is different this time is that they have one more person on this trip, and that is Sasuke. This Tsunere ghost. If it wasn't for Shiyu's invitation, he would never have gone. Originally he was thinking what is delicious about ramen. The result is delicious. The first thing Kakashi did when he came back was to go to the third generation of Hokage. The purpose was very simple, just to report on this trip. Especially Shiyu. 2 blood-stain limits are definitely the treasures of Konoha, and these talents must be well protected. And after 3 generations of investigations, there is no problem in determining Shiyu's identity. Because his birth was witnessed by many people, his parents were also Konoha ninjas. Like Iruka's parents, they were killed in the Battle of Kyubi, 9 Tails, in 12 years. That's why Iruka has a different feeling for Tokyo. This is the so-called sympathy. After some conversation, the 3 generations also said, "Kakashi, no accident, this child will be the future of Konoha, you must teach it well. If necessary, you can send Anbu to covertly protect you." Kakashi also nodded to Sandai's words. After Kakashi left, the 3rd generation looked at the blue sea and blue sky outside the window, and a figure appeared in his mind. This figure is neither the 4th generation nor the 2nd generation, but the recognized god of ninja, the first Hokage. Open black lens bracket Senju Hashirama close black lens bracket. Immediately afterwards, a voice sounded in Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart. "Will you be the next ninja god?" The 3 generations in my mind seem to have seen the scene where Shiyu showed his edge in the Chunin selection exam. He was looking forward to that scene. Chapter 43 Sakura's Nemesis. A few days later, Tokiha and Naruto were going to the location designated by Kakashi, but they were followed along the way. And 3 more. But their stalking methods are so hot that even Naruto can see the clues at a glance. "Konohamaru, your disguise is too hot." Hearing Naruto's words, Konohamaru also removed his disguise, and the 2 new faces were his partners. Girl's name is Feng Matsuri Mengwang, and the boy's name is Aiz Udon. It is worth mentioning that this style Matsuri Mengwang has a kind of blood stain limit, which is the Mokuden wood style of the original Hokage. But unfortunately, the cute Mokuden wood style has not awakened yet, so Shiyu can't detect her chakra nature. But it doesn't matter, there is also a ninja with open black lens bracket Mokuden wood style close black lens bracket in Konoha. He is Yamato, also known as Tianzang. Hey, as expected of the man I fancy, he can see through my disguise so easily. Big brother Shiyu, second brother Naruto. Seeing these three little guys, Shiyu is also very helpless. Since the last time he taught Konoha Maru, he is his little brother. When we meet, it is not the big brother, but the boss. Not to mention Shiyu, even Naruto was a little impatient. I said, you guys, won't you come to me to play some ninja games again? Seeing the three nodded heavily, Shiyu is also quite speechless. He has no interest in this kind of game, and the first few times it was stuffed to Naruto. He was very happy at first, after all, he could pretend. But playing too much is naturally annoying. And just when Naruto was about to refuse, a person appeared just to relieve him. Naruto, have you met Sasuke? When Shiyu and the others heard the news, they saw a girl in red Yuhi-colored clothes with long Sakura-colored hair. That's right, it's Sakura. Seeing Sakura, this guy Naruto couldn't hold back. But when the latter came to ask about Sasuke's whereabouts, he was a little unhappy because he liked Sakura. However, before Naruto could answer, Konoha Maru spoke first. Second brother Naruto, who is that woman? Is that your female ticket? Hey. Naruto laughed, and then said, can't you think that you brats are quite sensitive, you have seen it all. Sakura, who heard the words, exploded in an instant. Yes, it's your head. Sakura, who had finished speaking, was about to beat Naruto violently. As soon as her fist reached Naruto's forehead, she couldn't push it any further. As if blocked by an invisible mountain, a voice sounded slowly. Sakura. You won. As a girl, she knows how to be rough all day long. No boy will like this kind of character. Sakura, who heard the words, was also taken aback, and glared at Tokyo. I want you to take care of it. Of course I'm too lazy to care about you. Do you have anyone who wants to have nothing to do with me? But if you want to do something to Naruto, you can't. Why? Sakura said angrily. He's my brother. The simple and domineering sentence came out of Tokyo's mouth, which made Sakura stunned for a moment, but Naruto was extremely moved. Even Konoha Maru and the others were shocked by Tokyo's domineering, and they all shouted when they came back to their senses. The boss is mighty. The boss is awesome. After speaking, Konoha Maru kept showing off to Mengwang and Udon, and he followed a good boss. In the future, the two of you will follow me and have a good time. If I have a bite to eat, there will definitely be a soup for the two of you to drink. Not for anything else, just because my boss is Shiyu. Then, Shiyu said again. Okay, take your hand back quickly. Although I'm a man, you can't take advantage of me all the time. Sakura, who heard the words, was stunned for a moment, and immediately drank. Why do you want me to take advantage of you? I'm a girl, it's obviously me who suffers. Speaking, Sakura hurriedly put away her jade hand and glared at Tokyo. She has never been teased like this by a boy when she is so big. At this moment, she is very angry in her heart, but she doesn't dare to do it. Because of the look in Shiyu's eyes when she was divided into classes, she still has lingering fears. Shiyu, I remember you. Humph. Knowing that Naruto could not be taught a lesson, Sakura turned around after a cold snort. Seeing this, Naruto gave Shiyu a thumbs up. Shiyu, you really are a fork. This is the second time you have surrendered Sakura, you are her nemesis. Maybe I'm too handsome, Shiyu said solemnly. Is that so? Otherwise. Shiyu asked back, and then said, why does Sakura like Sasuke? It's not because he is handsome. It seems to be the case. And just as Naruto's voice fell, there was an exclamation in front of him. Ah! Hearing the words, Shiyu and the others looked at them and saw 3 figures in sight. One of them was Sakura, who had just left in anger, and the other 2 were unfamiliar faces, and only Yu recognized them. Tsunagaker, Temari and Kankuro of the Land of Winds. Chapter 44 Sand Waterfall, Gaara. Seeing Temari and Kankuro, Shiyu knew that the Chunin selection exam was just around the corner. The exclamation just now came from Sakura's mouth. She just ran rampage all the way because of anger, and she hit Kankuro directly. Sakura was startled when she saw the pattern on Kankuro's face. Her tone completely lost the previous toughness. No, sorry. Even in the face of the girl, Kankuro did not accept the apology, and said with a fierce look. I bumped into me, and I just thought about something when I was embarrassed. Temari on the side discouraged. Forget it, don't make trouble. HMPH, it's just Konoha's genin. Kankuro is very confident in his puppet technique and doesn't put Sakura in his eyes at all. Seeing this, Naruto was instantly unhappy, and immediately drank it. Bastard, stay away from Sakura. Fell, Naruto rushed to Kankuro regardless of the 3721, trying to teach the guy who bullied Sakura a lesson. However, before Naruto rushed to Kankuro, I saw Kankuro's fingers move slightly, and Naruto suddenly stumbled, and the whole person fell directly behind. Just when Naruto was about to fall to the ground, a big hand appeared behind him, helping him stabilize his body. There is no doubt that the owner of the big hand is naturally Shiyu. Are you all right? No problem. Seeing this scene, Kankuro felt a little unhappy because it didn't achieve the effect he wanted, but he still didn't forget to ridicule. So weak. This is the genin of Konoha. Sakura's expression was also stunned when she heard the words, and she muttered in her heart, it seems that they are not natives. Where are they from? What are you doing in our village? Countless doubts have grown in Sakura's heart. Shiyu, I seem to have tripped over something just now. That's the chakra line. When Tokiyu said this, he instantly caught Kankuro's attention. He didn't expect that Shiyu would be able to see through that he tripped Naruto with the chakra wire, and couldn't help but muttered in his heart. Is he also a puppet master? Not only him, but also Temari on the side. However, as far as she knows, there is no puppet master in Konoha. Even so, how does a genin know that? Looking at Kankuro, Tokiha's domineering words sounded again. I don't care where you come from. I don't care who you are. But since it's our Konoha, you can't help but be arrogant here. Get out of here. Words, Sakura was taken aback. Glancing at Kankuro, he also hurriedly ran in the direction where Tokiyu was. When he hid behind Shiyu, his trembling heart settled down. Looking at the back in front of him, Sakura's previous anger slowly dissipated. For some reason, she felt that Shiyu was very handsome at this moment. Standing behind Shiyu, she felt very safe. Is he handsome when he is domineering? What am I thinking about? Sakura hurriedly shook his head while muttering, and immediately dismissed the thoughts in his mind. At this point, even Temari was amazed by Shiyu's words. Yo, nice boy. Being scolded by Shiyu like this, Kankuro, who was arrogant, obviously couldn't hold back the anger in his heart. Little devil, it seems that you have to suffer. Seeing that Kankuro took down the puppet behind him, Temari on the side was also shocked. Hey, don't you want to use Crow? Raven, one of Kankuro's puppets. At this moment, a voice sounded to stop Kankuro's next move. Stop. Don't embarrass me here. Everyone who heard the words followed the prestige and saw a figure hanging upside down on a big tree next to him. The word, love, of Zu Yuhi, and behind him is a khaki gourd. There is no doubt that this person is Gaara. As an older brother, Kankuro is helpless to Gaara's scolding, and he greets him with a smile. There are 3 reasons for this. First, he is a brother. Second, he knew why Gaara became like this. Third, be afraid of Gaara's strength. Gaara, here you are. Kankuro gave a wry smile, but his greeting was greeted by Gaara's harsh words. Shut up for me, or I killed you. Voice fell, and Gaara appeared in the middle of Temari and Kankuro in an instant. We're not here to play. Let's go. And just when the 3 of Gaara turned to leave, Naruto suddenly said, What's your name, the one who carried the gourd? Hearing this, Gaara turned around and glanced at Naruto. I'm not interested in you. However, I'm a little interested in the one next to you. Gaara's eyes had already fallen on Shiyu. You're not good enough to know my name. What is arrogant? At this time, Shiyu interprets these 2 words very well. Gaara doesn't give Naruto, why should he give the latter face? Naruto, Konohamaru, let's go. When the voice fell, Shiyu turned around and left, leaving only a handsome and uninhibited back. But at this time, this back figure fell in the eyes of Sakura, Naruto and others, and it was simply cool and handsome. When I came back to my senses, several people immediately followed Shiyu. Even Sakura is no exception. Seeing this scene, Gaara's unwavering face from beginning to end finally had a trace of ripples. And Temari and Kankuro were dumbfounded. They have seen arrogant people, but they have never seen Shiyu so arrogant. You must know that the last one didn't give Gaara face, and now the grave head grass is estimated to be more than 1 meter tall. Looking at Shiyu and the others who were gradually moving away, Gaara's eyes were like falcons, and the corners of his mouth moved slightly. Not qualified. ... After this episode, Tokiha and Naruto also rushed directly to the location designated by Kakashi. If nothing else, Kakashi has already applied for the qualifications for the Chunin selection exam for them. Sure enough. After a brief greeting, Kakashi said, Although things are a bit sudden, I have already recommended you to participate in this year's Chunin selection exam. As soon as these words came out, both Naruto and Sasuke were stunned. What? Naruto stunned and didn't seem to believe this fact until Kakashi took out 3 application forms. Seeing this, Naruto gave Kakashi a big hug in an instant, and he didn't forget to say something. Kakashi-sensei, I love you to death. After breaking free from the troublemaker Naruto, Kakashi said again. Recommendation does not mean participation, and the final decision is in your own hands. If you want to participate, just sign your name on the application form and hand it over to the school's 301 classroom by 4 p.m. tomorrow. Having said that, Kakashi is very clear in his heart that the 3 of them will definitely participate in this Chunin selection exam. Especially Toki, Kakashi sees a 99% chance of passing the selection exam. As for that 1%, it must be some inevitable accident. Chapter 45 not here. The next day. After Tokyo, Naruto and Sasuke gathered at the agreed place, they headed towards the ninja school together. They are going to submit the application form for the Chunin selection exam. However, 301 classroom where the application form was to be submitted, they found a large group of people around the scene. Also, there are sounds of fighting. Looking closer, it turned out that 2 elderly genin stopped at the door of the 301 classroom, not allowing others to submit the form to register. Bump. As a voice came out, a boy in a green tights was beaten and flew out. When Shiyu saw it, he knew Akatsuki's identity. He is the second physique genius to understand the 8 inner gates guy's student, Lee Rock. Seeing this, the 2 men blocked the 301 classroom, genin said one after another. You're still taking the Chunin exam with this little skill. I advise you to just go home and stay. It's all nasty little devils, it's futile to participate, why bother? Shiyu glanced at the 2 of them, and it was already clear in his heart. Others don't know the identities of these two people, but he knows it better. These two are open black lens bracket steel iron close black lens bracket and open black lens bracket Kamizuki Izumo close black lens bracket, Chunin level, known as Konoha Two Gods. Simply put, it is the gatekeeper. The two of them are the examiners of this Chunin selection exam, and they appear here today as the genins who came to submit the application form in embarrassment. In order not to be noticed, they also deliberately used transformation technique. And most of those who watched the show were beaten up. Therefore, at this time, we can only silently be a melon eater. Gangzuti and Kamizuki Izumo are both elite Chunin, and the strength belongs to the outstanding existence in Chunin, and the ordinary genin is naturally impossible to be their opponent. As for why Lee Rock was easily beaten, it was because he didn't want to reveal his strength prematurely. Tenten on the side saw that Lee Rock was knocked to the ground. He stepped forward and said in a low voice, "Please, let's go in." However, her request was met with a ruthless punch. Just when Steel Iron's fist was about to land on Tenten's pretty face, it was firmly grasped by a big hand. This scene surprised everyone. Even Gangzuti himself was extremely surprised. He was able to easily block his attack, indicating that this person's physical skills were at least close to Chunin's level. And it was none other than Shiyu. Of open black lens bracket Tenten close black lens bracket, whether it is the latter's character or appearance. It's a pity that she was still single until the end, even to Bo Ren biography. Tenten turned his head to look at Shiyu, didn't know what to say for a while, just watched quietly. At this moment, everyone's eyes were focused on Shiyu, even Neji and Little Lee. The atmosphere was silent for a while, and Shiyu's voice also sounded slowly. "Get out of the way, we're going to the third floor." As soon as Shiyu said this, except for Sasuke who had Sharingan, everyone else was stunned. Is he funny? Isn't this the third floor? Yeah, let's just say it is a hero saves beauty. What's the embarrassment to admit to such a good thing? That's it. In the eyes of all. Middle Tenten is a rare beauty. If they weren't afraid of Gangzuti and Kamizuki Izumo, they would have already shot. But Shiyu didn't have this idea. He shot for two reasons. First, I just don't want Tenten to be beaten, even though I'm in an illusion. Second, it is because if he submits the application form, he must pass the current hurdle. Hearing what everyone said, Tenten was also taken aback. Looking at Shiyu who was close at hand, he secretly thought, did he really do it to save me? Immediately after, Gangzuti and Kamizuki Izumo glanced at each other, and their words made everyone stunned again. Oh, it seems to have been spotted. Not bad, kid. Before everyone knew what was going on, Sasuke also spoke up. We've been aware of this for a long time, and you have set up a barrier here with demonic illusion. This is the second floor, not the third. Naruto could only nod in agreement. He obviously couldn't notice without the Sharingan. If I'm not mistaken, there should be a demonic illusion of not here. You said this. Gangzuti and Kamizuki Izumo were once again shocked. In their opinion, it was amazing that Shiyu was able to see through demonic illusion being cast here, but what they didn't expect was that Shiyu could even see what demonic illusion was being cast here. There are not many people in the entire Konoha Master who know about this demonic illusion, but Toshiba is a genin who can know it. This is enough to see Shiyu's extraordinary. Because of this, everyone looked at Shiyu with a hint of amazement. Demonic illusion that tricks opponents into thinking one place is another. With demonic illusion being seen, I saw that the original 301 number was suddenly distorted, and the next second it turned into 201, so there was no need for Gangzuti and Kamizuki Izumo to stay here. Seeing this scene, everyone believed Shiyu's words. With the departure of open black lens bracket steel iron close black lens bracket and open black lens bracket Kamizuki Izumo close black lens bracket, others rushed to open black lens bracket 301 close black lens bracket to submit the open black lens bracket application form close black lens bracket. Because time is limited. At this time, Tenten, Little Lee, and Neji's eyes were still on Tokiyu and Sasuke, because only the two of them were present to break through demonic illusion. However, Tenten's eyes were locked on Chiyu. Her personality was very straightforward, and she didn't look like a twitchy little girl. Just now, thank you. You're welcome, I'm just taking it easy. Chiyu replied and immediately said, also, even if I don't take action, their attack will not cause substantial damage to you. In demonic illusion, all you see is an illusion. Tenten, who heard the words, was stunned for a moment, and then looked at Xiao Li's face, and it was indeed what Chiyu said, and the scar on the latter's face was gone. It's good to hide your strength, but you can't be slaughtered by others. When the words fell, Chiyu didn't stop, strode away under the stunned eyes of Tenten and the others. When Sasuke and Naruto saw this, they followed suit without any nonsense. The small steps of the two seemed to have begun to take on the appearance of a younger brother. Looking at Chiyu and the three of them walking away, Neji couldn't help but ask, Tenten, do you know that person? Chapter 46 Little Lee's Challenge. To Neji's doubts, Tenten shook his head. Never seen. This is strange, is it a freshman? Hearing Neji muttering, Little Lee also said, it's possible, the three of them are all fresh faces. However, the lead one seems to be quite strong. Neji also nodded, and then said, if nothing else, he should be a strong opponent. And the guy in the blue shirt at the back is not bad. It seems that this year's freshmen are stronger than expected. Neji was clearly referring to Sasuke, which was his instinct as a genius. Because Sasuke has the same arrogance as him. As for Tenten, her eyes were always on Chiyu. No way, the scene just now kept her lingering. It's getting late, let's go quickly. As Neji's voice fell, the three also left the place. Kamizuki Izumo, who were hiding in the corner, also withdrew their gazes. It seems that this year's candidates are quite strong. Kamizuki Izumo said. Yes. Gangzuti nodded, and then said, Yuuchi's shot earlier, I don't know how far he can go, I'm looking forward to it. Me too. The voice fell, and the figures of the two suddenly disappeared in place. At the same time, the three of them met Sakura in the hall on the second floor. The moment they saw Sasuke, her heart was ecstatic. Because she hasn't been to the latter for nearly a month. However, looking at Tokiha, who came with Sasuke, Sakura's heart suddenly felt a little stunned. She recalled the scene from yesterday. At that moment, Chiyu was really handsome. Sakura likes Sasuke purely because of unrequited love, plus she is not in the same class as Sasuke. It's been a long time since we were separated, and the feeling of unrequited love will slowly fade away. Unless Sasuke gives her a response. Otherwise, this emotion will fade with time sooner or later. Sasuke passed by Sakura, the latter hurriedly said, Sasuke, long time no see. Sasuke just nodded. Before he cut off the obsession in his heart, he would never consider any boring love. The reason why he is willing to follow Chiyu is because Chiyu is stronger than him and can also teach him how to improve Sharingan. This is undoubtedly what he wants most now. Seeing Sasuke's indifference towards him, Sakura was very disappointed. However, she seems to be used to it, because she has come here for so many years in the ninja school. This is the suffering of unrequited love. The moment Little Lee, who came from behind, saw Sakura, the hormones that had been silent for a long time suddenly erupted. I saw that he quickly walked towards Sakura under the stunned gazes of Tenten and Neji. The three of them passed through Tokiha and came to Sakura. There is no unnecessary nonsense, some are just true confessions. Are you Sakura? Sakura was also stunned by such a sudden question, but nodded politely. My name is Lee Rock, please hang out with me. I will protect you to the death. Sakura, who heard the words, was stunned for a long time, and decisively refused. Absolutely not. Your eyebrows are too thick. This result made Little Lee extremely disappointed, and Neji and Tenten in the back also sighed when they saw this. What if I shave my eyebrows a little for you? That won't work either. Lee, who was rejected again, clenched his hands a little again and asked, can you give me a reason? Because I already have someone I like. Sakura glanced at Sasuke between the words, trying to make Little Lee retreat. It's just that what she never expected was that the result would be counterproductive. Let's have a showdown. You want to fight me now? Sasuke asked. That's right, I want to see if my tricks work for people who are known as genius ninjas. Looks like you already know who I am. Sasuke's words, Little Lee did not deny it, because he heard Sakura's address to Sasuke just now in the distance. Only one person named Sasuke in Konoha today. He is the only survivor of the Uchiha clan in Konoha. However, before Sasuke could agree, Naruto was the first to say, leave this kind of stuff to me, and I'll be able to deal with him in minutes. The voice fell, and Naruto had already stood up directly. First, Little Lee's confession made him very upset, because he also likes Sakura. Second, he thought that if he defeated Little Lee, he would definitely be favored by Sakura. Third, Sasuke is always found by others, and he is always regarded as heir, which makes him very uncomfortable. The superposition of the three reasons gave Naruto no reason not to stand up, and he wanted to use this to prove himself. And for such a polyamorous love, Shiyu is really not interested, and silently acts as a melon eater. After all, such a scenario is rare. However, for Naruto's volunteering, Little Lee did not take it seriously. No way. Sakura likes Sasuke rather than Naruto, and Sasuke is a genius in this class of ninja school, which makes him even more eager to challenge. Excuse me. I want to challenge Sasuke Uchiha. The familiar words fell into Naruto's ears, causing it to explode directly. You only know Sasuke, it's abominable. Naruto, who had finished speaking, didn't care about 3721, he punched and rushed towards Little Lee. He has to prove himself. Prove that you are no weaker than Sasuke. Chapter 47 Disparity. However, Naruto is obviously no match for Little Lee. So, the results are predictable. Under the blow of Xiao Li's leg Konoha Gale, he was directly thrown to the ground. Boom, boom, thump. After a few rolls, it hit the wall directly behind. Dizzy, confused for a while. It was also because of this that Naruto knew the power of Little Lee and that there was a huge gap between the two. Seeing this scene, Sakura and Sasuke were also surprised. Although Naruto is not strong, he is not weak either. However, he was so vulnerable in Little Lee's hands that he couldn't even make a move. Seeing that Little Lee does have extraordinary strength. Sasuke, declare in advance that I will never lose to you, because I'm the strongest among the Konoha genins right now. Sasuke, who didn't have much interest in Little Lee at first, saw Little Lee's skills and heard these words. Finally got the energy. If it is true as Xiao Li said, he is the strongest genin in Konoha today, then as long as he is defeated, he is estimated to be able to pass the Chunin selection exam this year steadily. Interesting, come on. Seeing Sasuke agree, Little Lee also said, Sasuke, I will solve the battle within 5 minutes. Hearing this, Sasuke's face showed a trace of unhappiness, because he was the #1 freshman this year, so he was looked down upon by Little Lee. As for Shiyu's pervert, he no longer thinks about it. The arrogance of genius cannot be trampled on. Uncle, can't bear it. Aunt, can't bear it. Swish. Hearing a sound of breaking wind, Sasuke's figure rushed out instantly. He thought it would be easy to solve Little Lee by himself, but the result was far beyond his expectations. Because his attack can't touch Little Lee at all. Konoha Whirlwind. And with a light drink from Little Lee, his backhand was a swipe, but he was more powerful and faster than Naruto's previous defeat. Obviously a smarter move. Because little Lee's speed was too fast, Sasuke had no choice but to use his hands to resist to prevent the facade from being injured. But his thoughts were too naive, and in the second he resisted, little Lee's attack had already landed on his cheek. Boom! A heavy blow just kicked it away. Boom! After landing to stabilize his body, Sasuke's eyes were full of surprise. He didn't know what was going on at all, because little Lee's speed was so fast that his naked eyes couldn't catch it. Sasuke! Sakura also shouted worriedly, but Sasuke didn't pay any attention to it, his mind was only on the battle. Humph! Alright, just take this opportunity to get familiar with that movement. When the voice fell, I saw Sasuke's expression condensed. The next second, his black pupils instantly turned into Yuhi color. Seeing this scene, little Lee, Sakura, Neji, Tenten and others were all shocked. Then, could it be Sharingan? Quote. They had obviously heard about these eyes. After all, it was only 5 or 6 years after the Uchiha family was wiped out. At that time, they can already remember. Opening Sharingan, Sasuke is full of self-confidence. Without saying a word, he just punched and did it, and went up to confront Xiaoli again, trying to get back the lost face just now. However, the result has not changed. He could never touch little Lee, not even a piece of his sleeve. What the hell is going on here? I clearly turned on Sharingan, why can't I see through your attack? To Sasuke's astonishment, little Lee said. Sharingan can indeed see through any ninjutsu, taijutsu, demonic illusion, but with your current strength, even if you see through my attack, it won't help. So, your trick won't work. Others didn't understand what little Lee said, but Shiyu understood. Sasuke's Sharingan has just started, after this period of training, although his eyes have reached double Tomo. But it can only barely keep up with the speed of little Lee. However, what if the eyes can keep up, but the body can't respond in time? This is the power of open black lens bracket, the 8 inner gates close black lens bracket. Otherwise, how can you fight against those powerful geniuses just by exercising? But Shiyu and Kakashi's are different. Both of them are 3 Tomo, who have reached the ultimate of the ordinary Sharingan and can respond faster. So, dealing with little Lee is totally a no-brainer. Especially Shiyu, he does not have the bloodline restriction like Cassie, and can play Sharingan to ultimate. Gave Uchiha's bloodline when turning on his Sharingan, and this was the key to the Sharingan that Shiyu was able to switch freely. Little Lee was able to know this weakness of Sharingan, which was undoubtedly told to him by Emperor Guy. Guy and Kakashi have played against each other countless times and have a lot of combat experience. While Sasuke was in a daze, little Lee was ready to use the taboo move Leonwa. Shadow Leaf Dance. With one kick, Sasuke was kicked into high school. This familiar scene surprised both Naruto and Sasuke. Those who have seen this trick with their own eyes are naturally aware of its power. Once hit, it must be seriously injured. Sasuke obviously knew this, so the ruthlessness and confidence of the past were no longer on that handsome little face. Some just panic. At this time, little Lee has appeared behind Sasuke, and the bandages in his hands have been loosened and wrapped around Sasuke's body. At this critical moment, Sasuke's body suddenly disappeared from his sight. This scene made little Lee stunned. It can disappear out of thin air without any leverage in the air. If everyone masters this move, then all his Leonwa moves will be abolished. If so, Konoha's lotus will never bloom. After looking around, the final result is still within the acceptable range of little Lee, because there is no move that disappears out of thin air. Sasuke was rescued. And it was none other than Tokyo who saved Sasuke. Now that the Chunin selection exam is about to happen, it is not good if you get injured at this juncture, especially the Leonwa moves. If you don't train in bed for 10 days and a half months, it will definitely not be good. Furthermore, Sasuke is Shiyu's default younger brother. And the reason why Shiyu didn't stop him before was to let Sasuke know that there are people who are stronger than him in this world. Genius is not the strongest, only the genius who works hard is the strongest. Boom. Little Lee fell steadily from the sky, his eyes stayed on Shiyu's body. It seems that my intuition is correct, this person is really strong. It's no wonder that Little Lee thought so, because Shiyu's speed just now was as fast as what he had, or even faster. And it is. Shiyu's physical strength has reached the strength of opening, Dumen, which is no different from that of Little Lee. Even more. Because the physique given by the system is the peak physique of Dumen, the kind that can enter the sixth door, with only 1 foot left. But Little Lee just reached the physique of Dumen. So, if you have to compare, obviously Shiyu is better. Chapter 48 Inches Guy Emperor, debuts. At this moment, Little Lee was not the only one surprised. There were also Tenten, Neji and Sakura who were watching the game, especially Tenten and Neji. As Little Lee's teammates, they knew Little Lee's strength better than anyone else, and being able to save people from his hands was no easy task. Besides them, there is one other person present. This person's eyebrows are even more lush than the Little Lee. He originally wanted to stop Little Lee, but when he was about to speak, Shiyu had already rescued him. This person is Cassis's lifelong enemy, Might Guy. Little Lee stared at Shiyu for a while, and finally asked, "This junior, why do you want to interfere in the battle between us? I'm not just shooting for Sasuke, but also for your sake." Hearing Shiyu's words, Little Lee was taken aback for a moment. Seeing this, Shiyu continued, "This Chunin selection exam has not yet started. If your stunts are exposed now, it will be very detrimental to your subsequent exams. Also, it's better to use that taboo movement sparingly. Although it is only the most inferior secret skill, it will cause some damage to the body if it is used frequently." Shiyu was naturally referring to Biao Lianhua. This move is not very harmful to the human body, but it will always have some effects over time. When Shiyu said this, Shaoli and Emperor Guy were both shocked. But it was Shiyu's words that made Guy confirm one thing and muttered to himself. Looks like Kakashi didn't lie, this little guy. Apparently, Kakashi had already told Guy about Tokiha Master's the 8 inner gates. Kakashi did this for Tokiwa's sake. Guy is a hardcore expert in this area, and he thinks the latter can give Shiyu good advice. Of the process of bone fracture in the process of cultivating the 8 inner gates. How did you know? Little Lee's questioning voice was not finished, but Guy interrupted, "Lee, you are so young and energetic." With the sound of this voice, everyone's attention was attracted to the past. Seeing this, Naruto immediately complained. Wow. Another guy with thicker eyebrows. Not only Naruto, but also Sasuke and Sakura. It's really super rough. Well, the head is still a melon veil. Originally, Little Lee's thick eyebrows were enough for them to be astonished, but they didn't expect a more awesome one now. Only Tenten and Neji looked the same, because they were used to it. Little Lee heard this, he shouted angrily at the three of Naruto, "Hey! Don't make fun of Teacher Guy. Shut up for me, jump out to challenge us inexplicably, and let us complain about what's wrong." Naruto retorted in annoyance, apparently because he was killed in a second. Guy didn't have the slightest interest in the words of the two, and waved to Lee Rock, saying, "Little Lee, come here." Oh. Little Lee nodded and turned to look at Guy. While he was still stunned, a fist the size of a sandbag came towards his forehead, accompanied by an angry shout. "You bastard!" Bump. No accident, Little Lee was knocked to the ground by a punch. But Little Lee didn't have the slightest complaint about this, but his eyes were full of tears, facing Guy's eyes, speechless. "Little Lee, don't say anything. Mr. Guy." The voice fell, and the two funny ratios hugged together under the stunned eyes of everyone. This scene instantly saw Sakura and the others. Especially Tsunere Oni Sasuke, who was pouting at the moment, muttered in his heart, "How could I be defeated by such a joker?" After the two of them hugged, Guy instilled a declaration of youth in little Lee, and then looked at Tokiyu and the others. "Hey, are you Kakashi's students?" "You know him?" Naruto asked suspiciously. "Of course. We are called eternal foes." After answering Naruto's question, Guy continued, "The result of the fight between me and him was 50-49. So, I'm stronger than Kakashi." Hearing what Emperor Guy said, Shiyu was not surprised at all, but Sasuke and Naruto were startled. In the mission of the Nor of Waves they have deeply realized the power of Kakashi, but the guy with thick eyebrows in front of him is even more powerful than Kakashi. Seeing Shiyu's calm expression from beginning to end, Guy couldn't help but muttered in his heart. "This little guy is really unusual, no wonder that guy Kakashi pulls his face down and asks me." Guy glanced at Tokiyu one more time, then said to Sasuke, "I'm sorry just now, but for my sake, don't bother with him, little Lee." This, Tsunere Oni Sasuke did not speak, but Tokiyu did. "Mr. Guy, Sasuke has such a temper and doesn't like to communicate with others." Since he didn't refute it, he acquiesced. "Yo, it's you who likes me better." Guy laughed, and then said, "For the sake of you and me, you can come to me at any time if you don't understand anything about cultivation in the future." "Then I'll thank Mr. Guy first." Shiyu clearly understood what Guy was saying, otherwise, the latter would not have said such words for no reason. "Okay, you should hurry up and submit the application form, otherwise it will be too late." Hearing this, Tokiyu also nodded, and then led Naruto and Sasuke towards the 301 classroom. At this moment, little Lee spoke again. "Sasuke, I lied to you just now. Actually, I'm not the strongest in Konoha Genin, but the strongest person maybe in our group. So, prepare yourself mentally for the exam." Between the words, little Lee glanced at Neji next to him intentionally or unintentionally, obviously trying to convey something. However, Sasuke, who had not spoken for a long time, spoke at this time. "That person won't be in your group." As soon as the voice fell, Sasuke immediately followed Tokiyu's pace. At this time, the four guys, their eyes fell on one of the backs for a long time. This back is Shiyu. Because they think that the so-called person Sasuke said is very likely to be Shiyu. Only a more enchanting genius can make a genius surrender. Chapter 49 Inches Chunin Exam begins. Along the way, something strange happened. Shiyu saw some freshmen who came to sign up were taken away by his tutor. Moreover, it still looks dejected. After Sakura reunited with her teammates, she was also separated from Tokiyu and the others under the leadership of their mentor. And when the three of them came to the door of the 301 classroom, Kakashi had been waiting here for a long time. Just when Sasuke and Naruto were still wondering why Kakashi appeared here, the latter suddenly said something inexplicable. "Now you can officially apply for the Chunin selection exam." Ah! Naruto was stunned for a moment, and asked at any time, "Kakashi-sensei, what do you mean by that?" Before Kakashi could answer, Tokiyu said, "The reason is simple, because this is a test for our freshmen. Only the three of us appear here together to qualify for the Chunin selection exam." "Shiyu, you are still as smart as ever." Kakashi praised and asked curiously, "When did you find out?" "Yesterday was just a suspicion, only now is it finally confirmed. When we came up just now, we saw that some students were taken away by their instructors with a frustrated look. They had two things in common. One, they are all freshmen. Two, their staff is uneven. Yesterday, teacher, you gave us 3 application forms, saying that it is up to us to choose whether or not to participate, which means that we don't have to coerce the team members or ask them to participate in order to qualify us. After all, the Chunin selection exam is life-threatening. And we are freshmen who have just graduated. If we didn't come here by our own will, even if we arrive at the examination room, we will be afraid and run away because of fear, then we will lose the meaning of participating. Yesterday, the people from other countries who came to take the exam were basically three-person teams, and the seniors who graduated from the ninja school just now were no exception. So, I guess this Chunin selection test should be taken in groups of 3. This is one of the reasons why all the students will be divided into groups of 3 after graduation. And Kakashi-sensei, your presence here proves it even more. Because if any of us don't show up, you stop the rest from entering 301 classroom. Tokiyu's analysis made Naruto and Sasuke dumbfounded, and even Kakashi was no exception. He didn't expect that Shiyu could analyze it so thoroughly with a hint of clues, as if he knew everything in advance. Kakashi, you really have a good student. At this moment, Guy, who arrived at the rear, said with an envious expression. And Tenten, Little Lee, and Neji looked at Shiyu with more attention. They knew that Shiyu's strength should be very strong, but they didn't expect the latter's head to be so good. Neji, that guy is so smart. To Little Lee's consternation, Neji. He nodded noncommittally. And Tenten on the side was even more curious about Shiyu when he heard this. Looking at Guy and the 9th class members, Kakashi also said, Guy, why are you so slow? Hey, something was delayed for a while. After a brief exchange between the two, Kakashi also said to Shiyu and the others. It's almost time, you hurry in. You too, Guy said to the Tenten trio. Immediately after Kakashi and Guy watched, the 6 Tokiha entered the classroom 301. Creak. Bang. Guy also said when the 301 classroom door opened and closed slowly. Kakashi, shall we discuss something? What's the matter? How about giving me that student of yours? Go away. At the same time. Open black lens bracket 301 close black lens bracket in the classroom. Naruto, Sasuke and others were slightly surprised by the scene before them. Because at this time there is already a sea of people. In addition to Konoha ninjas, there are ninjas from various villages in various countries. There is no age limit for the Chunin exam, so the age of the participants is also uneven. Shiyu and others are undoubtedly the youngest group. When Sakura and Ino saw Sasuke appear, they rushed over immediately. Sasuke, we haven't seen each other for so long, do you miss me? Hearing Ino's words, Sakura hurriedly drank. Stinky Ino, take your hand away. Hinata, who was standing beside Shino and Kiba, was also overjoyed when she saw Tokiha and Naruto. But just watch silently, don't dare to be as bold as Sakura and Ino. Shiyu, you are here too. Shikamaru, who came up, said hello to Tokyo and the others. After all, they graduated from the same class. Konoha 12 Xiaoqiang have all gathered. It seems that we are the only freshmen participating in the Chunin selection exam this year, and we don't know how far we can go. Hearing Shikamaru's words, Kiba immediately said, we have worked hard, so don't lose to us. Stop chattering. We will never lose to you. Hearing Naruto's words, Hinata finally spoke up. Naruto, Kiba, he didn't mean that. After Hinata's voice fell. Suddenly, a voice came from behind, a voice that did not belong to any of their new students. I said you guys, it's better to be quiet. The eyes of everyone who heard the words followed the prestige, and what entered their field of vision was a white-haired young man with round frame glasses. Seeing this person, Shiyu was not surprised at all. Because the latter approached them with a purpose, this person is the right-hand man of Orochi and one of the leading figures in the Fourth Ninja World War in the future. The Little Prince of Intelligence, Yakushi Kabuto. Chapter 50 Awkward Yakushi Kabuto. You are the freshman who just graduated from ninja school this year. Sasuke and others were also a little surprised by Kabuto's sudden intervention, not knowing what the senior meant. Who are you? Ino asked first. However, before Kabuto could answer, Shiyu was the first to say, his name is Yakushi Kabuto. He is a candidate who failed the Chunin exam 6 times. He belongs to the kind of spicy chicken. When Shiyu said this, everyone was surprised. Not 6 times. That's really hot. I only failed the graduation exam 3 times. Hearing Naruto's words, Sakura also squeaked softly, Naruto, how can this chunin exam be compared to graduation exam? Everyone who heard the words nodded. The difficulty of the two is indeed not the same grade. The words were so right, but they didn't expect Shiyu to be so domineering, to expose the shortcomings of others in person. The reason why Shiyu did this was obviously intentional. This guy Kabuto obviously has the strength of Jonin, but he has to pretend to be a grandson and wants to win the Oscar. So, of course, you have to take care of him. And the most surprised was Kabuto himself. He didn't expect Shiyu to know his identity. But Kabuto wasn't angry, or couldn't be angry. Still with an easygoing look, he said with a smile, "This junior, can't you save me some face?" "I'm sorry, I don't usually give spicy chicken face." Ah. Hearing this, Kabuto was completely stunned. On the surface, he didn't seem to have much turbulence, but he was unhappy on the inside. Because he has always been in control of everything and looks confident. But at the moment, it's eaten up. When Sakura saw this, in order to give Kabuto a step down, she also asked, "I wonder what the senior Kabuto wants us to do." "I see that you are taking the chunin selection exam for the first time. As a senior, it is necessary for me to remind you. This chunin selection exam is not as easy as you think." Kabuto's tone was very positive, and he wanted everyone to think that it wasn't because he was too spicy. Seeing that everyone had begun to take his words seriously, Kabuto took out a bunch of cards. This is the ninja card. It records all the information of the chunin selection exam, including participating countries, ninja villages, number of people and personal information, etc. If you are interested, I can share with you the information I have collected. Hearing this, Sasuke and the others were undoubtedly interested. However, before waiting for everyone to ask questions, Shiyu immediately took down the platform and said, "No need, I know all the information. Whatever you want to know, just ask me." Kabuto-senpai has failed the exam 6 times. If it causes him to fail this time, everyone will feel sorry for it. Hearing Shiyu's words, everyone was stunned. After thinking about it, they all nodded, all feeling that what Shiyu said made sense. Shiyu is right. Senior Kabuto, don't share it with us. Shikamaru, Sakura and others also agreed, and then their eyes fell on Shiyu. Shiyu's words left Kabuto with no chance to even pretend. As the saying goes, pretend to be coercive, let others be coercive. This result made Kabuto bewildered. At the same time, Naruto asked confirmingly, "Shiyu, you really know what Kabuto-senpai said just now?" "That's natural." After getting Shiyu's confident confirmation, Kabuto questioned, "This junior, do you know how many ninja villages participated in this time? How many people took the test?" "As far as I know, there are a total of 6 shinobi villages including our Konoha participating in the chunin selection exam. There are 72 Konoha ninjas among them. 30 Sunagaker, 21 Omegakure, 15 Kusanagi, 12 Taki and 3 Otogakure, for a total of 153 people. Can you?" Kabuto was stunned for a moment after Toshiba said this information exactly. When Sasuke, Sakura and others heard the words, they were also greatly shocked. "Shiyu, do you know his Lee Rock information?" Sasuke between the words pointed to Lee Rock next to him, obviously unwilling to lose the battle just now. He wanted to know more about the latter, hoping to find a way to defeat the latter. Hearing this, Shiyu looked at little Lee and said slowly, "Lee Rock, 13, graduated 1 class before us. I have performed D-level tasks 20 times and C-level tasks 11 times. The instructor is Guy. He has improved a lot in physique this year, but he is weak in other aspects. Last year, when he was a rookie, he had already shown good strength, but his mentor told him to be steady and not be eager for quick success. That's why I didn't participate in the previous Chunin exam. This time is also the first time to take the test like us, and his teammates are Hyuga Neji and Tenten, the three of them make up the 9th class. When Shiyu's remarks fell, it could be said that there was thunder on the ground, leaving everyone stunned. Especially Xiaoli himself, because everything is the same as what Shiyu said. Moreover, even he himself forgot how many times he performed the task, but the latter knew it perfectly. Seeing that Shiyu was so powerful, Naruto also hurriedly asked, Shiyu, what about the guy with the gourd over there? Obviously, he was very angry that he was ignored by Gaara yesterday. His name is Gaara, Sunagakur, the land of wind, and is known as Sand Waterfall Gaara. Have performed 8 C-level missions, 1 B-level mission, and never had a trace of damage during the mission. To be honest, his strength has already reached the level of Chunin. The 2 people who participated in the Chunin exam with him this time are his siblings, sister Tamari, brother Kankuro, and all 3 are descendants of Kazekage, the 4th generation of the Kingdom of Wind. As Shiyu made Gaara's information clear, everyone no longer had the slightest doubt about Shiyu's words. To know the information about the Konoha ninjas, but it is difficult to know the information about the ninjas from other countries. But Shiyu still knew it like the back of his hand. At this point, even Kabuto on the side is ashamed, because his master's information is far less detailed than Tokiyu. This made him feel deeply frustrated. He forced others to pretend, and he pretended to be bigger and more dick than him. Because of this, Shiyu has already been included in his small books by him. It's just that what he didn't understand was why a person as powerful as Shiyu, he didn't know about it before, as if it appeared out of nowhere. At this moment, the eyes of Shikamaru, Shino, Ino and others looking at Shiyu changed a little. Because for the first time they knew that Shiyu had such ability. Looking at Shiyu in front of him, Ino couldn't help but murmured in his heart. Unfortunately, it's just soft power. If I had the hard power of Sasuke, I wouldn't have to fight with Sakura. Ino and Sakura were originally 2 little best friends, but because of the appearance of Sasuke, the 2 began to compete for jealousy. At this moment, even Sakura had a strange look on his face. And Hinata is still the same as usual, secretly supporting Tokiyu, just like supporting Naruto. She has a special feeling for the 2 of them. As for Tenten, they couldn't help but have a little interest in Shiyu Shun. Needless to say, under the halo of Shiyu, a traveler, Kabuto's title of Little Prince of Intelligence is obviously going to change hands. Chapter 51 The Otogakur Trio. After telling everyone what they wanted to know, Shiyu also summed it up. In short, according to my master's information, there are many more powerful people participating in Chunin this year than in previous years. Therefore, the difficulty of being promoted to Chunin has also increased. Hearing Shiyu's words, Shikamaru, Sasuke, and the others all nodded thoughtfully, with a dignified expression on their faces. This open black lens bracket Chunin exam close black lens bracket. For Shiyu, completing the tasks of the system is the top priority. So, just don't hinder Gaara's successful tail beast transformation. As for the rest, it depends on your mood. And when Naruto, the second idiot, learned that there were so many strong people at the scene, he suddenly shouted under the pressure in his heart. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I will not lose to you. After shouting, Naruto finally released the pressure in his heart completely, but in exchange it was the hostility of everyone present. In this regard, Naruto was immediately bombarded by Ino and Sakura. Naruto, are you an idiot? You idiot, isn't this creating an enemy for us? As expected. Naruto's announcement attracted some irritable guys, most notably the Otogakur trio. Because the goal of their trip is to kill Sasuke. Therefore, it is natural to be hostile to Naruto in the same group. Otogakur trio, Two's Anvil, Sark Stirrup, and Jin Hammer. ___. Especially the Two's Anvil, which is known as Six Paths Twos in Hokage Ninja mobile games. They were the targets of Shiyu's second mission, and the strength of the three of them was considered to be the best among them. After all, it was cultivated by Orochimaru, and it has some strength. But in the eyes of Shiyu today, it is no longer worth mentioning. Not to mention that Master Tokiha has 3 kinds of blood stain limit, and 2 tail beast powers, just the 8 inner gates can easily solve it. Not to mention, Shiyu also has open black lens bracket Sharingan close black lens bracket and open black lens bracket Hiraishin technique close black lens bracket. Going back 10,000 steps, even if Shiyu didn't use these abilities, he could still defeat him with 1,000 times his talent and 1,000 times the blessing of chakra. After the 3 of them stared at Naruto for a while, Two's, the leader of them, said, "Sark, how about going to play with him? Okay, let's add some more information about Yinyan village to them. Just be cruel." A second after the voice fell, the figures of the 2 disappeared at the same time, only the girl Chin Hammer did not shoot. Swish, swish. The crowd could only see 2 shadows running through the crowd, and the next second, their figures appeared in front of Naruto. 2 people from 2 directions blocked Naruto's retreat. Because Naruto's left and behind were Tokiyu and others, just when the inevitable Naruto was preparing to fight hard. A strange scene has appeared. I saw that the 3 bodies were frozen in the air at this time, as if an invisible big hand had grabbed it, unable to touch the ground. This strange scene undoubtedly attracted the attention of all the people present, and everyone thought that these 2 people had some stunts. Even their partner, Chin Hammer, looked puzzled, because as far as she knew, the 2 of them didn't have this ability. But who would have thought that at this moment, Toss and Sark were suffocated in their hearts? Because this is not their stunt at all, but is controlled by someone, as if it is hanged by something. Immediately after, when the 2 of them were still confused, they slammed heavily on the floor under the stunned eyes of everyone. Boom. This. At that time, the 2 previously indomitable people were lying in front of Naruto like 2 dead dogs. This scene is undoubtedly astounding to everyone. Just when everyone thought that all this was done by Naruto, with a bang, a cloud of smoke suddenly appeared in the classroom. Then came a voice, which instantly attracted everyone's attention. "You bastards! Just be quiet for me." Everyone who heard the words looked at each other, and a group of figures appeared where the smoke had dissipated. Tai and Kamizuki Izumo were included, but at this time there was still one person standing in front of them. Not rough is surprising, this person's status should be above the 2 of them. And the latter is the chief examiner of this Chunin selection for the first exam, Konoha Special Jonin, Morino Ibiki. With his appearance, it is undoubtedly the beginning of the Chunin selection exam. The first sentence Ibiki appeared was incomparably overbearing, showing the majesty of the examiner to the fullest. "You genins from Yinyan village, you'd better restrain yourself. Otherwise, you will be disqualified from the exam." After scolding the 2 of 2s, Ibiki's eyes swept to everyone, and the cold voice sounded again. "Just take this opportunity, let me tell you the rules. Without the invigilator's permission, it is forbidden for candidates to fight privately, and even with the invigilator's permission, no killer is allowed. If you violate the rules, you will be disqualified from the exam immediately." As Ibiki's voice fell, the classroom fell into silence, because everyone thought that the strange scene just now was done by the latter. However, there are 2 exceptions. The first one is Kabuto. Because as far as he knows, Ibiki is good at mental torture, and does not have the strange ability of Master. But even if he had doubts in his heart, Kabuto couldn't find the person who shot him in the first place, because the previous chakra disappeared too quickly. And, quite weak. If it weren't for his strength as Jonin, and his years of dormant work as a spy, it would be impossible to detect it. The second is Sasuke, because this scene seems familiar. Sasuke's gaze fell on Tokiha when he saw the iron protective gear installed on Tuzan Sark again. In this regard, his heart has been determined, and the fact is exactly as Sasuke thought. The person who shot was Shiyu. Taz and Sark were hit by the secret technique created by Tokyo, open black lens bracket Jiden, magnet style, latte close black lens bracket. And if you want to prevent this trick, there are only two ways. First, remove the iron products from your body. Second, use chakra to cover iron products in advance to prevent them from being disturbed by magnetic force. However, this second method will continue to consume chakra. Otherwise, once you relax your vigilance, you will be caught. In fact, Toth and Sark are not weak, it's just that Shiyu is too strong, and the shot is the blood stain limit that is extremely difficult to prevent. If the Jin Hammer also shot just now, perhaps this task of the system has already been completed. However, Shiyu is not in a hurry. Anyway, when it comes to the second exam, they will automatically come to the door. Because the purpose of their trip was not to take the exam, but to assassinate Sasuke. At that time, Shiyu can play well with them. Seeing such a quiet atmosphere, Ibiki nodded with satisfaction and then announced. Then, now start the first round of the Chunin selection exam. Written exam. Chapter 52 The position of Yin prosperity and Yang decline. Open black lens bracket 301 close black lens bracket in the classroom. Ibiki's voice rang out one after another. Now submit your application forms in order, and then pick up a random number and sit in the corresponding position. Someone will send the written test papers to you later. Others didn't worry much about the written test session, except for one person. That's Naruto. Because this is what he is the worst at. What should I do? Seeing Naruto in such a panic, Shiyu also stepped forward and said, Naruto, don't panic, isn't it me? Shiyu, do you have any idea? Of course. After getting Shiyu's confirmation, Naruto also hurriedly asked, then tell me quickly, it will be our turn to hand in the form soon. In a word, do you believe me? Of course I believe you. That's good. Shiyu responded and immediately said, no matter what the examiner says later, don't panic and don't have any psychological pressure. You just need to keep the exam without saying a word, and I guarantee that you can pass this part smoothly. What about the test papers? Just hand in a blank. Shiroi. Naruto stunned, his face full of doubt. Even Sasuke on the side had doubts in his heart. It wasn't that he didn't believe Shiyu, it was just that it was absurd. A open black lens bracket written test session close black lens bracket you can pass it if you tell me to hand in a blank. Isn't this open black lens bracket Arhu in the crotch, pure bullshit close black lens bracket. Since you choose to believe me, don't have any doubts. As for the reason, I don't have time to go into detail now. I'll explain it to you after the exam is over. Hearing the words, Naruto nodded heavily, and then the three of them also stepped forward and submitted the application form. Immediately after, the three Shiyu were all assigned to different areas, which was obviously prepared in advance, and everyone's team was separated to prevent cheating. To Shiyu's astonishment, his position was a place where Yin flourished and Yang declined. Because his front, back, left, right, and all directions were all girls, Otogakur Chinhal in front of him, and female ninjas from Omegakure village and Takian village in the front left and right respectively. Hinata on the left, Tenten on the right. Left rear Sakura, right rear Tamari, right rear Ino. It is also for this reason that this position has attracted the attention of countless people, and some boys are extremely coveted by it. But in the end, it fell into Shiyu's hands. Don't say anything else. The moment you sat down, he didn't know how many jealous eyes he evoked. Seeing Shiyu, Hinata, Sakura and others greeted each other. Even Tamari in the back is no exception, because Shiyu left a deep impression on her yesterday. Yo, it's you, it seems we have a good relationship. Hearing Tamari's words, Shiyu also said, since there is such a fate, then I kindly remind you. Don't deal with Otogaker. Ah. Temari, who heard the words, was stunned for a moment, and there was no ridicule on his face. Immediately asked a question. What do you mean by that? That's it, nothing else to say. This reminder was still a gift from Shiyu for the sake of the latter's no malice and willingness to say hello. Otherwise, he would be too lazy to intervene in this useless thing. After seeing the two of them talking, Ino was also curious. Shiyu, how did you know her? It's not an acquaintance, it's just a relationship. After a few simple conversations with the girls, Ibiki's voice sounded again. Everyone, now I'm announcing a few rules about this exam. 1. Each examinee has 10 points at the beginning. There are 10 questions in this written test, a total of 10 points, 1 point for correct answer, 1 point for wrong answer, and an inverted point deduction system. 2. The test is based on a group of 3, that is, the team when you sign up shall prevail, and the judgment shall be based on the total score of the 3 members. Total 30 points. 3. If any inappropriate behavior is found in this exam, such as cheating, or it is determined to be cheating, 2 points will be deducted at a time. 4. After the exam, if the score is deducted for cheating or gets 0 points, then all members of his group will lose the qualification for the exam. After announcing the relevant regulations of the open black lens bracket exam close black lens bracket, Ibiki also ordered the test papers to be distributed. After everyone got the test papers, Ibiki's voice sounded again. The exam lasts an hour. Now, the exam begins. After Ibiki's voice fell, everyone's eyes immediately fell on the test paper. But next second, almost everyone was dumbfounded, because they didn't know the questions on the test paper at all. Of course, there may be a few geniuses with theoretical knowledge who can do it, but that's all. 99% are destined to be eliminated. Unless the entire team is a genius of theoretical knowledge, all members can pass, but this is obviously unrealistic. Once one person is eliminated, it means that the entire group is eliminated. Therefore, such exam questions are undoubtedly forcing them to cheat. Otherwise, everyone here will probably be eliminated. After a short thought, anyone who is not too stupid already understands the meaning of this written test, which is to test how a ninja can successfully collect information without being discovered. And this information is the answer to the question in this exam. Ibiki had placed 2 candidates who knew the answer in the exam room beforehand, and all they had to do was to get the answer without the invigilator finding out. As a result, the candidates in the classroom began to show their magical powers. 1. Sasuke uses Sharingan, just copy the movements of other people's hands. 2. Neji uses open black lens bracket Byakugan close black lens bracket to see through directly. 3. The most flamboyant is Otogaker. 2. You can know what others have written by listening to the sound. 4. Gaara uses sand to make a third eye. 5. Shino uses bugs. 6. Ino uses the heart-turning technique. 7. Chapter 53 Hard Choice. There are those who show their supernatural powers, and there are those who are more pragmatic. Just like Sakura and Hinata et al. Sakura doesn't have any tricks to cheat, but she is a master of theoretical knowledge and can barely answer. Although Hinata has Byakugan, she is useless, because her theoretical knowledge is not bad. It seems that female ninjas are better at answering questions. Temari and Ino sitting directly behind Shiyu, the two of them are helpless. However, Ino doesn't matter. Her heart-turning technique can be said to be the strongest cheating method. Even Shikamaru and Choji have to rely on her. As for Tenten, her methods are not bad. Use the viewing mirror in the center of the classroom ceiling to peek, but I don't know where she got such good eyesight. However, compared to that Otogaker 2's, you can hear the answers written by others by listening to the voice, which is considered a pediatrician. But cheating always comes with risk. Therefore, over time, many people have been deducted and eliminated because of their cheating methods. 1 out, 3 out. It is also for this reason that the number of candidates who are eliminated is also increasing rapidly. However, under this pressure, there are still many people in the examination room who have not answered a question because they neither know how to do it nor have any clever cheating methods. But no one is as confident as Shiyu. From start to finish, just sit there and close your eyes. This scene naturally attracted the attention of Hinata, Tenten and others, making them very puzzled. Hinata on the left finally couldn't help worrying and said, "Shish. Shiyu, can I show you my answer?" "No, I can do question 10. Shiyu is not blindly confident, because this 10th question is very special. Moreover, he also knows how to deal with this exam. Question 10. 45 minutes after the start of the test, the invigilator will give the title of this question. Please answer it after you fully understand it. Close black lens bracket. Ah. Tenten on the left heard the words. He also asked curiously, "Shiyu, are you so sure that you can answer the 10th question correctly?" According to normal logic, the last question is undoubtedly the most difficult one. Since the first 9 questions are not enough, why are you full of confidence in the last question? Could it be that the invigilator who asked this question was your relative? Yes. Sakura echoed, and then said, "Furthermore, even if you answer question 10 correctly, you only get 1 point. You will lower your group's grades, and the 3 of you will likely be eliminated because of this." For the kindness of the girls, Shiyu said something inexplicable. "It's no use answering the first 9 questions." Answer. The attention of Tamari and Ino at the back was also attracted. Ino was stunned for a while, then asked curiously, "Shiyu, do you know something? If you believe me, don't bother about it later. Keep silent until the end of the exam, I guarantee you will pass the exam." After the voice fell, Shiyu stopped talking. And Shiyu's confident words made the girls extremely puzzled, and they couldn't help but mutter in their hearts. Hinata didn't speak, she believed Shiyu. Although Sakura, Tenten, and Ino were suspicious, they did not regard Tokyo as a fool because Tokyo had just received the title of Little Prince of Intelligence. Therefore, they have reason to believe in Shiyu. Seeing that Shiyu was so confident, they were embarrassed to say more. Anyway, the latter would not pass without affecting their group. But Tamari is different. In her opinion, Shiyu is arrogant, and self-deceiving, which she had learned yesterday. And Shiyu's approach also attracted the attention of the examiner Ibiki. Because there is not a single candidate with blank test papers in the examination room as calm as him, his confident look seems to have passed this stage. In his opinion, Shiyu estimated that it was Master's superb cheating method, such as waiting for others to finish and then copying all the spells. Because of this, he paid more attention to Shiyu. "Little devil, I'm curious what means do you have?" After Ibiki's murmur fell, the exam time had reached 45 minutes. And those who can still stay in the classroom at this time, almost all have the means to reach the sky. Because they have obtained the answers they want, but only 2 people's papers are still blank. One is Shiyu, and the other is Naruto. Shiyu was calm from beginning to end, but Naruto still had a worried look on his face. It's too absurd to be able to pass this kind of blank paper. Even if he believes Shiyu extremely, but before the final confirmation, there will inevitably be a little worry in his heart. This is human nature. But Shiyu is different. Had known Akatsuki's result for a long time, so he didn't panic at all. At the same time, Ibiki's voice also sounded slowly. "Time is up, now start to announce the 10th question." Hearing this, some candidates raised their spirits, because they were waiting for this question with luck. Without cheating, there are only a few lines on the test paper, and they don't know whether they answered right or wrong, so they can only pin all their hopes on this 10th question. For question 10, I'm going to add a few rules now. Tell me about your choice first. Do you want to examine or no examination for question 10? If you choose no test, the first 9 questions will be invalid, and the result will be 0 points. I have already said the consequences, that is, you and your group members will all lose the qualifications for the test. If you choose exam, if you don't answer correctly, then you and the group members you are in will lose your qualifications for the Chunin exam forever. EBK's rules of pervert naturally arouse the dissatisfaction of everyone, and Kobo was the first to stand up. What kind of bullshit rule is this? Isn't there someone here who has taken the Chunin exam more than once? Kobo's righteous indignation, everyone agreed. However, EBK was unmoved, like a cold-blooded animal. Hey. That can only be blamed on your bad luck. I have the final say in this year's rules. So, those who are not confident are better to choose not to take the test, and then give up, so that they can take the test again in the future. With the words of EBK fell. Almost all the candidates were full of anger, and the atmosphere in the classroom was suppressed to ultimate. Because choosing test is too expensive. EBK had obviously cornered them and only gave them a way to survive. That is to choose no test, give up voluntarily, and they can come back in the next session. Otherwise, who can guarantee that the 3 people in the group can answer correctly? Involving teammates, this pressure is undoubtedly huge. Undoubtedly, this is EBK testing a ninja's mental quality and mental endurance. At the same time, it is also a test of how they should choose when faced with difficulties. Chapter 54 Mitarashi Anko. When the atmosphere in the classroom was suppressed to a peak, EBK's voice sounded again. Number test, raise your hand to signal. After registering the number, you can go. After EBK's voice fell, someone finally couldn't bear the pressure and raised his hand tremblingly. I'm not taking the test. When one person makes a statement, others follow suit, because they also have no confidence in themselves, or in their teammates. I give up. I'm not taking the test either. Quote. Immediately after. The candidates in the classroom left one by one, and in less than a moment, dozens of people had already left. This shows the professionalism of EBK. As expected of a tortured mental torturer. After the atmosphere was silent for a while, another person raised his hand. But this identity surprised Sasuke and others, because it wasn't someone else who raised his hand, but Naruto. Just when everyone thought Naruto was about to give up, his big hand fell on the table instantly. Snapped. A crisp sound resounded in the classroom, accompanied by a bell-like voice. Don't look down on everyone. I'm not going to hold back. Naruto's remarks attacked the hearts of all the candidates present, so that those candidates who were about to give up regained their confidence. Let them understand why they want to take this exam. Yes, I'm not afraid. I want to test. Me too, even if I can only be genin in this life, I can go against my heart. That's why no one raised their hands after this. And everyone obviously credited Naruto for this credit, but no one thought of the confidence that Shiyu gave Naruto. Except Sasuke, of course. Because Shiyu told Naruto before the exam that no matter what the examiner said, there should be no psychological pressure. Just stick to it until the end of the exam and you'll pass. And EBK's words just now undoubtedly verified Tokyu's previous account, which made Naruto completely believe Tokyu. As for why he said such rhetoric, he was obviously afraid that Sakura and others would not be able to withstand this pressure and give up. So, he chose to stand up. Seeing this scene, EBK's face didn't change much, but his heart turned up a lot. He did not expect that such an outlier would appear at such a critical time. Staring at Naruto, a cold voice slowly spit out from his mouth. I'll give you one more chance. This decision is about your life, and it's too late for you to regret it now. No need. Naruto directly refused, and then he pretended to be full of confidence. To follow my heart, this is my way of forbearance. EBK was also stunned. He really couldn't understand why Naruto was so confident. Is this his own inner instinct? Or who gave him confidence? In fact, it has both. But if it wasn't for Shiyu's words, he wouldn't be able to be so confident, and he wouldn't be able to hold on until now without a hint of collapse. Ibiki looked at all the candidates in the classroom and saw that the faces of everyone had lost the mental burden from before. In this regard, he knew that it would be useless to wait any longer. What only puzzled him was Shiyu, who was paying attention before, why his expression was still so calm at this time. From beginning to end, he never saw Shiyu write. Has he finished answering? At Shiyu for a while, Ibiki could only think so. He was very curious about what method Shiyu used to complete the exam without writing. This method is unique in the entire classroom. Because even those who can't do it, they will symbolically hold a pen and think about it. Also, you have to write when you cheat and fill in the answer at the end. But Shiyu didn't have it, never did it from beginning to end. This is why Ibiki pays more attention to Tokyo. After some thought to no avail, Ibiki didn't bother, but praised Naruto. Very wise decision. Voice fell, Ibiki's eyes swept the audience, and the high-pitched voice sounded slowly. Then everyone here. I announce your first exam. Pass all levels. As soon as these words came out, the audience was amazed. What? Passed? What the hell is going on here? You ask me, who am I to ask? At this moment, everyone is dumbfounded. Relative to this result, Naruto, Sakura and Hinata and others have a deeper shock. At this moment, their eyes were all focused on Shiyu. They really couldn't figure out how the latter knew how to pass this exam. And, still so sure. Seeing the confusion in the classroom, Ibiki also explained with a smile, everyone, there is actually no question 10 at all. If you insist on saying it, then the two choices just now are question 10. After hearing this explanation, Sakura and Tenten who were sitting next to Tokyo were even more shocked. Because this answer coincides with Shiyu's previous inexplicable remarks, it's useless to answer the previous 9 questions. Tamari, who was a little grumpy, was the first to ask. Ibiki examiner. According to what you said, the previous 9 exam questions are not equal to the white exam. No wonder that Tamari is so angry, but it took her 9 years to get the answer. But now others tell her that the final result has nothing to do with it. Can this make her angry? That's not quite the case. The first 9 questions are to examine your intelligence gathering ability. As an excellent ninja, this ability is indispensable. Because intelligence is sometimes more important than life, it can be a crucial factor in winning or losing a war. So, when you are caught by the enemy or other competitors, if you have a strong psychological quality and mental endurance, then it is not necessarily true that they get the intelligence. Speaking, Ibiki took off his turban. There was not a single hair on the top of his head, only countless scars that were shocking. Immediately after. For the 78 people who passed the exam, Ibiki briefly explained his purpose. In a word, this test is about psychological endurance. This is the top priority of becoming a ninja. Because the way of the ninja is cruel, it is to face death, and they will face this problem in the next exam. So, if you can't even pass the first level, what qualifications do you have to face the life and death test of the second level? Ultimately, Ibiki concluded. So, this better to die than surrender is the real meaning of this 10th question. It's also the purpose of this exam. Hearing Ibiki's words, everyone came to their senses. I feel that this exam is necessary, and better to die than give in, as one of the prerequisites for becoming a qualified ninja. Congratulations on passing my level. Please do your best for the next exam. And a second after Ibiki's voice fell, the glass of the classroom was suddenly broken. Bang! Sound. Everyone vaguely saw a figure shot from the outside, and the speed was beyond their imagination. Immediately after. A purple-haired beauty with a Konoha ninja forehead caught everyone's eyes, and a banner was hung behind the female ninja. It reads, the second chief examiner. Open black lens bracket Mitarashi Anko close black lens bracket, c. Chapter 55 Second Shocked Ibiki. Open black lens bracket Mitarashi Anko close black lens bracket, one of Konoha Hidden Village Beauty Ninja. One of the disciples of Sanin open black lens bracket Orochimaru close black lens bracket, has a bold personality, and belongs to open black lens bracket special Jonin close black lens bracket just like Sen Milk Ibiki. Anko's appearance made Ibiki a little ashamed, not to mention Sasuke and others. Everyone, it's too early to be happy now. I'm the examiner for the second exam, Mitarashi Anko, and the next exam is waiting for you. This is the first sentence of Anko's debut. It sounds domineering, but it is actually like a middle-aged disease. This image fell in the eyes of Sakura and Ino, and a figure subconsciously appeared in their minds. That's Naruto. Needless to say, the two have similar personalities. Just when everyone was still thinking about what the second exam would be, Anko frowned slightly and looked at Ibiki beside him. Ibiki, why are there 26 teams left? Your exam is too easy. No wonder that Anko is so surprised, because last year's first test will basically wipe out 2/3. But there's more than half of this year left. 153 people, 75 people were eliminated, and 78 people remained. Ibiki was stunned for a moment, then said helplessly, this class of candidates is stronger. No way. He couldn't say it was caused by Naruto, that would make him very embarrassed. HMPH, that's it. Look at me, in the second exam I will eliminate the number of people to less than half. Hearing Anko's words, most of the 78 people present looked panicked. They are obviously not confident in their own strength. Immediately afterwards, Anko continued. The content of the second exam will be announced tomorrow when we arrive at the designated place. Please ask your teacher Jonin about the time and place to gather. Now, all disbanded. As Anko's voice fell, those in the classroom also left one after another, leaving only Ibiki, the examiner, to clean up the papers. However, when he received Shiyu's paper, he was stunned for a moment, and there was a look of consternation in his eyes. The test paper is blank. It didn't even have a name written on it, just a line of words. Open black lens bracket Ibiki-sensei, why do you keep staring at me during the exam, am I that good? Close black lens bracket. After looking at this line of words, Ibiki was stunned for a long time before returning to his senses, and there was a smile on his expressionless face. This kid is funny. This was the first time he saw a person who was so arrogant when he handed a blank, but he wasn't angry because of it. On the contrary, I like Shiyu more and more. Because if he didn't expect it, Shiyu should have seen his purpose early in the morning. Otherwise, it is impossible to be so confident. Ibiki was very curious how Shiyu knew what he was thinking, and he wanted to meet Shiyu in person. What kind of special ninjutsu does Tokyu possess? Or does he have some other special talent? However, when Ibiki was packing other papers, he saw a blank again. Uzumaki Naruto. Isn't that the kid just now? Is this a coincidence? Or? At this time, Ibiki had doubts, because Naruto made him feel too confident, just like Tokyu. Could it be? Suddenly thought of a possible Ibiki, and directly checked the application form. Originally, he wanted to know Shiyu's name, but he didn't need it now. Sure enough. It was the same thing as he thought. The appearance of two empty papers was not a coincidence, and Naruto's confidence did not come for no reason. All of this is because of a man named Takagawa Tokyu. Apparently, Ibiki found Naruto from the application form and thus Tokiha. However, to the shock of Ibiki, there is also a line on the back of this application form which reads, Open black lens bracket Ibiki-sensei, it looks like you have found me. Close black lens bracket. When I saw this line of words, Ibiki's heart was shocked. Shiyu knew that Ibiki's brain would definitely think of this, and he would read his application form, so he wrote this line in advance. Hey, what a horrible kid. If he was just shocked before, then now he is already shocked. He has assessed how many students, but he has never seen a person as smart and daring as Shiyu. Moreover, it is still a freshman who has just graduated a month ago. A student of Kakashi. Looks like I have to find time to chat with him. At the same time. After leaving the classroom, Naruto couldn't help but wonder in his heart. He wanted to know how Shiyu knew that he could pass the first exam by handing in the blank. Not only Naruto, but also Sasuke, Sakura, Tenten and others. Although Temari also wanted to know, but because of what happened yesterday, Gaara and Shiyu still had a feud. So, she didn't dare to get too close to Shiyu and others, for fear of making her younger brother unhappy, so she could only leave with Gaara and the others. However, when she told Gaara and Kankuro about this, they were also greatly shocked. Temari, do you know his name? Apparently because of Shiyu's arrogance yesterday, Gaara was thinking about it. I don't know. Temari, you won't read his test paper. Kankuro said speechlessly. What do I think, he didn't even write his name, and he seems to know that he can pass without answering the questions. As soon as Temari said this, Gaara and Kankuro were surprised again. After a long pause, Gaara looked at the direction in which Shiyu and his group disappeared, and a word was slowly spit out of his mouth. Interesting. I hope you won't let me down. Chapter 56 Death Forest. At this time, Tokiha was surrounded by Naruto, Sakura and Shikamaru, and they couldn't wait to know the answer. Shiyu, did you know the exam questions ahead of time? Naruto asked first. Of course not. That's how you know how to pass the exam. Sakura said. It's easy. Shiyu replied succinctly. According to the information I have collected, Ibiki is an expert who is good at mental torture and can create various psychological pressures. First of all, it is obviously not a simple purpose for an expert-level person who is mentally tortured to serve as the examiner for the first exam. Secondly, the examination of theoretical knowledge can never be a decisive factor in whether a genin can become a chunin, because there are also chunin and jonin with poor theoretical knowledge in our village. So, as long as it's a normal, written test, it's absolutely impossible to be eliminated even if it's a blank paper, at most it will lower the total score. Finally, what is the most serious question for candidates for the chunin exam? It's nothing more than death threats. Combining the above 3 points, and the fact that Ibiki has been putting mental pressure on us at the beginning of the test, it can be completely determined that the purpose of this test is not pure. In the end, Ibiki-sensei also said it himself. This exam is about whether a candidate's psychological quality is excellent. Can it withstand the pressure of being in trouble? Can it rise to the top? Shiyu's words finally solved everyone's doubts. But they could never have imagined that this was just what Shiyu said casually for the sake of sophistry. However, there is still some truth to what he said. Even Shikamaru, the IQ genius, nodded involuntarily. Sasuke was a little puzzled after thinking for a while. Shiyu, but did you tell Naruto, handed in blank before the exam started? Answer, Shikamaru spoke first. It's not easy. Shiyu said this in order not to put Naruto under pressure, because no matter whether this test is normal or not, as long as handling in blank, you can pass. Hearing this explanation, everyone nodded. However, the eyes they looked at Shiyu had changed a lot at this time, and there was a sense of admiration in their hearts. Who would have thought of an exam that can be passed by handing in blank papers? After everyone knew the truth, they dispersed. The 3 of them also went to Kakashi to ask about the exact time and place of tomorrow's exam. Day 2. When the 3 of you arrived at the location of the second examination room, the candidates who passed the first exam yesterday also arrived one after another. Second examination room is a forest surrounded by iron nets more than 10 meters high. There are dozens of identical entrances around, except for the number. This is Konoha's 44th practice field, which also has a rather scary name. It's called Dead Forest. This forest gives a gloomy feeling, and I don't know how many dead bones are buried in it. This place is a place of killing allowed by open black lens bracket chunin exam close black lens bracket. To become a chunin, you have to pass the experience of death. Looking at the forest in front of him, Hinata couldn't help but shuddered and muttered. It feels so scary here. Girls like Hinata and Sakura feel this way, but also boys like Shikamaru and Choji. And Anko seemed to see everyone's fear, and laughed. Hey hey hey. You will soon know why this place is called Death Forest. Hearing Anko's words, Naruto was the first to stand up. Come. Stop scaring people. I'm not afraid. Yo, are you very motivated? Anko responded and threw a shuriken, then dodged and disappeared in place. Swish. When Anko dodged behind Naruto, there was no next move. Instead, he froze in place. Not only her, everyone present was dumbfounded. Because the shuriken that should have slashed Naruto's cheek was firmly held in his hand by a big hand. At this time, although Anko appeared behind Naruto, there was still a figure sandwiched between the two of them. At this moment, Anko is facing the latter, and the distance between the two seems to be less than 1 millimeter, and they can smell each other's breath. Mr. Anko, I admit that I'm handsome, but you can't stare at me like that, can you? The words, Anko finally came back to his senses, his pretty face gave a slight yuhi, and he immediately distanced himself from Shiyu. Obviously, this result was completely beyond her expectations. She originally wanted to let Naruto know what it feels like to bleed, so that the latter would know that the so-called Death Forest was no joke. But she never imagined that Tokiyu, who is genin, would appear behind Naruto in advance. Is this a coincidence or intentional? It would be nice if it was a coincidence. But if it was intentional, then you would be a bit of an evildoer. Because the latter must see her purpose in advance and settle down in advance, so that the scene just now can appear. Of course, there are also reasons why she didn't do her best. Shiyu is still a genin who has just graduated, Anko can only classify the possibility as the former. In other words, this result is easier to accept. But she can't confirm the real result now, unless she fights against Shiyu in person, or sees Shiyu showing extraordinary strength. But the former is obviously impossible. As an examiner, it is naturally impossible for her to challenge a genin for no reason. It seems that the final judgment can only be made by looking at his performance in the upcoming exams. Tokiyu's figure was reflected in Anko's beautiful eyes, and he smiled as if nothing had happened. Little devil, you are very good. I am flattered as a student to be praised by teacher Anko. Shiyu responded politely. But Shikamaru, Kiba, and others were a little uneasy when they saw this scene. They didn't expect that Anko didn't care about Shiyu's ridicule. Because of this, I couldn't help but give Shiyu a thumbs up. Of all the genins present, even if someone had the idea, who would dare to do it? In other words, Shiyu just happened to have a good time. But what most people see is only one-sided, and only Gaara, Neji, Shikamaru, Little Lee, and the hidden Orochimaru can see the essence through phenomena. That is, Shiyu's speed is already so fast that it is completely comparable to that of the elite Chunin. Oh, looks like a good seedling. One of the women in the crowd, Kusanagi, was shocked, and then muttered to herself, I wonder how it compares to that child in Uchiha. There is no doubt that this female Kusanagi is Orochimaru in disguise. Master Anko, your kunai. The conversation, Shiyu handed the shuriken in his hand to Anko, with a look of respecting his teacher. Well, thank you. Kunai in Shiyu's hands, Anko smiled at Shiyu, and then his eyes swept to all the candidates. It seems that what Ibiki said is true, this year's candidates are really not bad. Hee, I'm really looking forward to it. Chapter 57 Book of Heaven and Earth. Then, now start the second exam. Before the exam, you have to sign this consent form. Enko took out a thick stack of paper between the words. Why? For Naruto's puzzlement, Enko also explained, because you may die at any time during the exam, you must ask for your consent. Otherwise, if there is an accident, I will be in trouble. Enko, who had finished speaking, looked at everyone and briefly explained the process. First, each of you come to me to get a consent form. After signing your name on it, a group of 3 will hand over the consent form in your hands to the examiner at the registration office. Immediately after, Enko briefly explained the content of this exam to everyone. This is an extreme challenge to survival. The terrain in Dead Forest is. Enko took out a map and gave a detailed introduction to everyone. In short, what you have to do is to challenge the limit of survival in a limited space. There is no limit to what means you use. The ultimate goal is scroll battle. When entering Dead Forest, each team will get a corresponding scroll, namely Book of Heaven and Book of Earth. And if you want to pass this exam, you must reach the central tower of Death Forest with 2 scrolls of Book of Heaven and Book of Earth at the same time. The exam is 120 hours long, or 5 days. After Enko's voice fell, the first question was Choji. 5 days. What shall we eat? Needless to say, this is Choji's biggest concern. Fix it yourself. This has formed an independent ecosystem, which contains wild animals, of course, wild animals, poisonous insects and poisonous weeds, etc. After answering Choji's question at the meeting, Enko also read out the elimination rules to everyone, which is undoubtedly the most concerned thing for everyone. You will be eliminated in the following cases. 1. Within the specified time, the 3 failed to arrive at the designated central tower with the Book of Heaven and Book of Earth. 2. Anyone in the team died, or the fight could not continue. 3. You are not allowed to quit halfway after the exam starts. You must spend these 5 days in this forest. 4. Before reaching the central tower, it is strictly forbidden to peek at the contents of the scroll. Hearing this last rule, Naruto couldn't help but ask, what would happen if I read it? If you want to know, you can try it later. After making fun of Naruto, Enko said again, okay, that's all for the rules. Now you can take the 3 signed consent forms to the registration office in exchange for the scroll. Then choose an intersection. When the time is up, 26 teams will enter at the same time. One last sentence, as the examiner of this exam, I hope you don't die. After Enko announced the end, all teams took 3 consent forms, one after another, to the registration office to exchange for a scroll. In order to prevent others from coveting, the scrolls obtained by each team were unknown to others. Shiyu and the others got was the Book of Heaven scroll, and the entrance was 12 entrances. Wait until everyone has rolls. After the shaft, Enko also announced. Now, the candidates of each group follow the person in charge of each entrance to the designated entrance to prepare. In 30 minutes, enter the forest at the same time. Hearing Enko's words, Tokiha also left with the person in charge of entrance 12 inches. And when they left, Enko's eyes kept on Tokyu until their figures disappeared at the end of the corner. Little devil, let me see what you are capable of. ... After half an hour, Enko, who closed the stopwatch in his hand, also heard a loud shout from his throat. Open black lens bracket Chunin selection exam close black lens bracket second round, start now. Following Enko's order, 26 teams stepped into the Death Forest. After entering the forest, the Kusanagi trio that Orochimaru was in immediately started looking for Tokiha and the other 3. His purpose is Sasuke. But Naruto and Sasuke obviously didn't know, and their eyes fell on Tokyu. Obviously, the 2 of them now regard Shiyu as their backbone. Sasuke, the Tsunere ghost, naturally wouldn't be the first to speak, so the job of asking for instructions naturally fell on Naruto. Shiyu, what should we do now? Find a place to rest first. Rest. Naruto looked puzzled between the words. Everyone else wanted to grab the scroll from the other team immediately, but Shiyu actually said to find a place to rest. Why are you in such a hurry? Even if we found a team, it wouldn't be a waste of time if their scroll was the same as ours. So, instead of looking for it aimlessly, it is better to let the prey come to the door. After a simple thought, Sasuke said, I agree with Tokiyu's method. Since you both agree, of course I have no problem. Then the question now is, how do I get the prey that suits us to take the initiative to send to the door? Sasuke said. It's easy. When we rest later, we only need to deliberately reveal the Book of Heaven scroll in our hands. Then we just need to wait for other teams to find us. As long as they shoot at us, then there is a high probability that their hands will be the scrolls of the Book of Earth. Because it can't be ruled out that some teams, in order to eliminate more opponents, don't care if you have Book of Heaven or Book of Earth, they will just grab anyone they see. Kill anyone you see. So, this is no longer a simple exam, but a game of killing people and finding treasures. Hearing what Tokiyu said, both Sasuke and Naruto froze in their hearts. Immediately after, the two were led by Shiyu to the shade of an empty tree, where they stopped. Shiyu glanced around and said immediately, this place is nice. Great view, easy to spot, great fishing spot. If Shiyu's words make other players vomit blood and refuse to accept it, everyone else will be afraid to hide their heads and tails. It's better for him, he directly put himself in danger. Also euphemistically called, this is, Wishers Take the Bait. Chapter 58 Inches Orochimaru appears. After the location was chosen, Tokiyu and the others were also ready to lie down and fish. Shiyu, I'll go make it easier. Seeing Shiyu nodded, Naruto hurriedly went behind the bushes in front of him. This is their resting place, and naturally they can't defecate anywhere. If it's irritating, it's not good. After a moment, with the sound of rustling from the bushes, Naruto also reappeared in front of Tokiyu and the others. Haha, it's so cool that the convenience is over. Hearing Naruto's words, Shiyu said something inexplicable. I didn't expect it to come so soon. What came so quickly? Naruto looked puzzled. However, before Naruto could react, Shiyu's punch had already landed on his chest. Bump. Shiyu's punch was hit in the front, and Naruto shot back like a cannonball, hitting the tree behind him directly. Boom. Naruto, who fell to the ground, was extremely shocked at this time, because he had lost the ability to fight. At this moment, his heart is painful and aggrieved. He never expected Shiyu to be so pervert. One punch, just one punch, he couldn't move. With this kind of power, you fucking told me he was genin, I wouldn't believe it if you killed me. He could only roar angrily. You, what's wrong with you? Sorry, I don't have the master's strength. Shiyu chuckled, then said to Sasuke next to him, you must have noticed it too. Sasuke nodded, then stared at the seriously injured Naruto in front of him, and said sharply. Where's Naruto? That tone seemed to say again, hand over my daughter-in-law. Naruto, who heard the words, was stunned for a moment, and said with difficulty, I don't understand what you are talking about. Hee. Shiyu sneered, and then said, pretend, keep pretending. In this regard, Sasuke directly drank. Do you think a right-handed person will tie the dart cover to his left leg? And you don't even know the names of the two of us. Your transformation technique is worse than Naruto. After knowing that his identity was discovered, the guy disguised as Naruto also changed back to his original appearance. First, the identity has been seen through, and it can no longer be installed. Second, he was powerless to maintain his transformation, because Shiyu's punch had already seriously injured him. He did his best to maintain his transformation state just now, just to deceive Shiyu and the two first, and then escape after his body recovered a little. But what he never expected was, his identity was discovered. Wait until the other party reveals his true body. You and the two also knew the true face of the latter, and it turned out to be a ninja from a Megakure village. Tokiha and Sasuke found Naruto tied up behind a small hill behind the bushes, looking like a caterpillar. Immediately after, Tokyo asked Naruto to hang the Megakure. First, let Naruto vent his anger. Second, it is naturally to attract his companions to come to the rescue. Because the scroll owned by this person's team happens to be Book of Earth, is this Tokyo and the others lucky? Of course not. Because this Megakure saw the Book of Heaven scroll that Tokyo was playing with earlier, he became greedy. It can only be said that this fishing is still very efficient. But, to be honest, this name Megakure is really not weak. Otherwise, I would not dare to act rashly alone. It's a pity that he met Shiyu, who was a coward. To be honest, Shiyu's current strength has reached cage level. Even stronger. Therefore, even if this Megakure reaches the level of Chunin, or even Jonin, in Shiyu's eyes, it is just an ant. An ant that can be crushed at any time. After everything is ready, the three of Shiyu also sat down leisurely, waiting for the new fish to take the initiative to bite the hook. Sasuke, Naruto. In order to prevent what happened just now, we need a code. Ah, what kind of code? Naruto pouted. The secret code is, spring sleep doesn't wash my feet, the big snake licks my feet, and the little snake pills come at night, break his dick with one kick. Just after Shiyu's words fell, a strong strange wind suddenly blew up here. Swish. The wind was so strong that it even lifted a layer of skin on the ground, making the originally empty venue filled with thick smoke and dust. But this is not a natural phenomenon, but a kind of ninjutsu. Called open black lens bracket futon wind style datapa, great breakthrough close black lens bracket. At this time, three figures appeared in the smoke, and their foreheads were wearing grass ninja forehead. Immediately after, the woman in the middle, Kusuo Shinobi, said, "You can find fun by yourself, I'll do it alone here." Between the words, there was an undisguised murderous look in her eyes, as if she was provoked by something. Hearing the words, the two men hurriedly disappeared in place. Wait until the smoke clears. Tokyo, Sasuke, and Naruto appeared in the same place, and were not scattered by the move just now. All of this is naturally due to Shiyu. A Megakure who was hanged by Shiyu and others, he wasn't so lucky. He didn't know where he was scraped when he was hit in the front. Life and death unknown. Immediately afterwards, the three of Tokyo began to face the password. What? The big snake licked my foot. Broke his dick with one foot. I heard that the female Kusunin's face became more and more unkind. But at the same time, he also had a trace of doubt in his heart. The three Shiyu were able to avoid his futon wind-style datapa, great breakthrough, a result he never expected. Is it luck? Originally, he thought that at least one person could be knocked flying, and then he used the transformation technique to get close to the other two. But now it seems that this idea is undoubtedly in vain. In fact, Shiyu and Sasuke don't need any secret codes at all. Their Sharingan is the best proof. As for that so-called secret code, it was nothing more than Shiyu used to make fun of someone. Immediately after, the female Kusanagi also appeared in front of Tokyo and the others, and Naruto, who had the worst memory, was still chanting a password. Yelai, Xiao Shi Wan, one kick. Cut off his dick. Ha ha ha, am I very smart? At this moment, the female grass forbearance is really a little bit unbearable. As smart as she is, she can naturally hear that the object of this so-called password is to be ridiculed, and it is undoubtedly Orochimaru, one of the Konoha Sannin. And why this female Kusanagi is so unhappy, that's because she is Orochimaru. This is also the reason why Shiyu, who was hiding in the dark, suddenly attacked after he had spoken out. As one of Sannin, he still has such arrogance in his heart. Chapter 59 Hidden Shadow Snake Hand vs Practice Empty Bomb. It's the grass ninja. The second he saw the female Kusanagi, Sasuke exclaimed, and Naruto said, Shiyu, isn't this fish right? A megacure in their imagination. Now open black lens bracket Orochimaru close black lens bracket has not shown his true colors, so Sasuke and Naruto both regard him as the ninja of open black lens bracket grass hidden village close black lens bracket. Of course, even if Orochimaru showed his true colors, the two of them would not be able to recognize him. Because of the legendary Konoha Sannin, neither of them have ever met. And Orochimaru saw the first sentence of Tokiyu and the three of them was about code and he was very curious about it. Little devil. From the very beginning, you've been talking about that code. I'm curious what you mean by that. You and I know it well, why bother asking? Tokiyu's answer left Sasuke and Naruto puzzled, but it was like a thunderbolt in Orochimaru's ears. Could it be, this kid sees through my identity? But soon this idea was denied by Orochimaru, and he pretended to be Kusanagi, and he still has a flaw in it. Impossible. Even Anko didn't find me. How could he be a kid who just graduated? No wonder Orochimaru would deny this, since he defected to Konoha earlier than Itachi, and ran before the death of the fourth generation. In other words, the group of little guys in front of me has not yet been born. After concentrating, Orochimaru temporarily left this moment behind. He felt that if he wanted to know the answer, he could get to the bottom of it by just grabbing Shiyu and questioning him. Thinking of this, he directly took out a scroll from his body. There is a big word, Earth, written on it. Needless to say, the Book of Earth, scroll held by Orochimaru's team. Immediately after, under the stunned gaze of Sasuke and Naruto, Orochimaru directly swallowed the Book of Earth scroll into his stomach. Then, let's start the scroll battle. I will try my best. Orochimaru, who was talking, stretched out his hand and pulled the corner of his eyes, making him look even more terrifying. This operation of Orochimaru is all paving the way for a demonic illusion. That is open black lens bracket hell viewing technique close black lens bracket. When Orochimaru stretched out his hand and pulled the corner of his eye, this demonic illusion was cast. Since the terrifying atmosphere created by Orochimaru previously made Naruto and Sasuke feel disgusted and afraid, the two of them were hit without any suspense. They see themselves getting killed. However, what surprised Orochimaru was that Tokiyu didn't get hit. Moreover, Naruto and Sasuke were rescued from demonic illusion. Are you two okay? Hearing Shiyu's condolences, Sasuke also said, Shiyu, if you hadn't rescued him in time, I would have felt dead. Yeah, this person's strength is terrible. Naruto echoed. At that moment, he deeply felt his weakness. In front of Orochimaru, he was like a leaf of duckweed, letting the wind and rain blow. You little brat, it's really not easy. Needless to say, Orochimaru has noticed Tokiha since the hand he showed in front of Anko earlier. What he didn't expect was that the latter was even more powerful than he imagined. Since that's the case, I'll show a little bit of my ability to play with you. As Orochimaru's voice fell, he saw a knot in his hand, and 3 giant pythons suddenly appeared. Evil Serpent Wrist Explosion summons several giant snakes to devour the enemy, and then detonates the giant snake with chakra. These 3 beasts didn't move very quickly, as if they were instructed. They opened their bloody mouths and rushed towards Shiyu and the 3 of them. Sasuke and Naruto panicked when they saw this. Color. Because I was hit by Orochimaru's demonic illusion just now, my body is still a little paralyzed and I can't move. At this time, I saw a knot in Shiyu's hand, and a low drink came out of his mouth. Open black lens bracket Kaden Fire Style Phoenix Sage Fire Technique Close black lens bracket. Phoenix Sage Fire Technique. Sea-level ninjutsu, spewing flames from the mouth to spread out in all directions. The attack trajectory is controlled by the caster, and it is extremely difficult to avoid. But the power of Jing Shiyu's hands is beyond imagination. I saw 3 groups of super large flames, spit out from Shiyu's mouth, and in just a short time, the 3 giant pythons were roasted directly. Boom, boom, boom. After struggling for a while, the 3 giant pythons fell to the ground one after another. In addition to the smoke and black smoke, there was also a constant, zzz, sound. Noisy, noisy. This scene instantly looked at everyone. Phoenix Sage fire technique, but their Uchiha family's unique Kaiden, fire style ninjutsu, few foreigners can master. But at this time, it was actually used in Shiyu's hands. In particular, Shiyu's power was much stronger than his, and the effects presented by the two were not at the same level at all. No wonder Sasuke was so shocked. This ninjutsu is naturally Tokyo and the others in the last half-month of the bridge repairing in Nagaland. When Sasuke was practicing, Tokyo accidentally glanced at it and became the master. That's why he didn't turn on Sharingan but only recorded it with 1000 times the talent blessing. Although the talent of 1000 quilts cannot be synchronized with the caster like the Sharingan, it can also be remembered and mastered. Although this ninjutsu has a wide range, its disadvantage is that its aggressiveness is too weak. Therefore, Shiyu improved it a little. A ninja who can improve ninjutsu is definitely a monster-level existence. This is also the reason why Orochimaru was so surprised, and when he came back to his senses, he directly used a secret technique. Open black lens bracket lost shadow snake hand close black lens bracket. Shadow snake hands, limbs, C. Level ninjutsu, using several snakes hidden in the cuffs to surprise the opponent. Seeing the group of snakes coming from all over the sky, Shiyu did not panic at all, and the Indian style in his hand reappeared, and he instantly transformed into a stronger ninjutsu. Open black lens bracket futon wind style learn air bombs close black lens bracket. Futon wind style air bomb. Spit out a huge wind ball containing a large amount of chakra from the mouth to violently attack the enemy, with fast speed and strong power. This ninjutsu was learned by Tokiha when he obtained the power of Shukaku. With the release of this ninjutsu, the group of snakes in the sky was blown away directly. Because the wind speed is too fast, and there is a certain cutting ability, if the flesh is not strong enough, it will leave scars. Even, it was cut into countless segments. Without the slightest accident, the empty bomb smashed the snakes away with the momentum of destroying Gu Laxi. Boom! The training air wave hit the big tree behind, and the ladder could not support such a strong force and collapsed. As for the second Orochimaru shot at the empty bullet, he had already avoided it with the blinking technique. As expected of a master at the Sannin level, Orochimaru, who got out of a tree trunk, glanced at the place where he was hit by the empty bullet and was extremely shocked in his heart. Because he still underestimated Shiyu's strength. This kind of strength is completely comparable to Jonin, and even surpasses it. However, Orochimaru never imagined that the strength he saw now was just the tip of Tokyo's iceberg. Moreover, this is still performed by Shiyu with ordinary chakra. Once the tailed beast chakra is used, the power will only be stronger. Is this really a freshman who just graduated? Orochimaru stared at Tokyo at his feet, with a deep excitement in his eyes. Undoubtedly, he became interested in Shiyu. Chapter 60 Orochimaru's death. Little devil, your ninjutsu skills are good. I don't know how physique is. The voice of Orochimaru fell close to Shiyu in an instant, and with a punch, he swung towards Shiyu's facade. Orochimaru apparently wanted to test Shiyu's qualifications to be his container. Therefore, I want to understand Shiyu in all aspects. Spear. Orochimaru's punch missed, and the attack was perfectly dodged by Tokyo. Moreover, it is still without Sharingan turned on. It can be seen from this that Shiyu's own physical skills have reached a very strong level under the increase of 1000 times of talent. What's more, he now has a Dumen physique, and his physical strength is far beyond comparison. But compared with Sannin's Orochimaru, there is still some gap. But that's not the problem. Because Shiyu's talent will soon be able to catch up with him. Bump. 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 ... After a brief confrontation, Orochimaru became more and more surprised. Because Shiyu's physical skills were not as good as him, but during the battle, the latter was approaching step by step. The speed of this progress is terrifying. Orochimaru once wondered if Tokyo had some special physique. Otherwise, how could it be so pervert? The reason for this is naturally because of Shiyu's 1000 times talent. Ninjutsu Shiyu can directly comprehend by his powerful talent, instantly reach a super high level, and even improve it to a higher level. But physical skills are not good, this thing can only be accumulated over time, and it is constantly strengthened in battle. Only half a month before Shiyu obtained his 1000 talent ability, and he did not do any special training during this period. Therefore, the attainment of physical art is naturally stagnant. But now with Orochimaru, a strong Sannin, as his opponent, it is undoubtedly equivalent to teaching on the spot. Orochimaru is still like this, and Sasuke and Naruto are even more surprised. They didn't expect that Shiyu would be able to get away with such an existence, and the situation was gradually improving. Shiyu, who was originally at a disadvantage, now has a faint sign of reversal. Orochimaru naturally felt this too, and Lima opened the distance with Tokyo instead of choosing physical skills. So far, Genin, who has been able to make Orochimaru, one of Sannin, actively distance himself. Shiyu is undoubtedly the first. Orochimaru looked at Shiyu in front of him, and couldn't help but muttered in his heart, "What is the origin of this kid? How come I have never heard about him before? I must arrest him today and study it well." At this point, Orochimaru directly performed the spiritual technique. Immediately after, a huge cloud of white smoke suddenly floated through the forest, and then a python several times larger than before appeared in the eyes of Shiyu and the others. Open black lens bracket block snake close black lens bracket. One of the powerful psychic beasts of open black lens bracket Raichi cave close black lens bracket, a powerful existence. The appearance of Black Snake surprised Sasuke and Naruto again. They didn't expect the female Kusanagi to be so powerful. Orochimaru standing above the head of the Black Snake, Tokyo felt a little envious in his heart, because he thought it was very cool. "Kid, I haven't been this excited for a long time. Now, let me see what you can do." In Orochimaru's eyes at this time, his interest in Tokyo has completely overshadowed Sasuke. But as for whether Shiyu can become his container, only after research can we know. The reason why he fell in love with Sasuke is because the latter has the blood-stain boundary, which has always been his dream. Why he makes those containers, such as Yuhi Lotus, Kimimaro, etc. Originally, he wanted to beat Itachi, but he couldn't, so he had to fall back and focus on Sasuke. Being defeated in Itachi's hands made Orochimaru even more eager to get Sharingan. At this moment, the strength of Orochimaru, who drove the Black Snake, greatly increased. With Shiyu's current strength, he can completely kill Black Snake, but with Orochimaru watching him, he can't let go. Because Shiyu does not have a Master Wanwa Sharingan yet, nor does he have a Hashirama cell. So, now he can't use open black lens bracket Izanagi close black lens bracket. Even though he is already very strong now, he still has to be cautious when he has no life-saving skills. For example, Orochimaru directly uses Impure World Reincarnation to summon the first and second generations, which is quite tricky. Moreover, Orochimaru also has a forbidden technique called the Art of Eight Tori. The S-level forbidden technique transforms into a terrifying Baki Orochi, with a body exceeding 10,000 snakes and a sharp kiba. Seeing this scene, Shiyu knew it was time to show some strength. "Since you want to see it, I'll let you see enough." With a soft drink, Tokyo directly unleashed open black lens bracket Great Fireball Jutsu close black lens bracket. Seeing this, Orochimaru let out a cold snort. "Little devil, this little flame can't hurt Black Snake." "Really?" Shiyu shattered lightly, looking like he was in the master. Seeing the flames coming, Black Snake opened its bloody mouth and spit out a thick gray-black mist, which instantly extinguished the flames. Just as the flame was extinguished, a handful of kunai emerged from it. Oh, with a shuriken in the flames. Nice fighting style. Between the words, Orochimaru lightly tilted his head, and easily avoided the shuriken's attack. But right now, Shiyu's figure mysteriously disappeared in place, as if it had evaporated out of thin air. This scene made Orochimaru look astonished, but he was even more astonished than that. Because when Yu reappeared, he was already behind him. That is where the kunai are located. And these things just happened between lightning and flint, and people couldn't react so quickly. Even someone as strong as Orochimaru is no exception. This is. The shocked Orochimaru clearly recognized the Hiraishin art. At this moment, he noticed the difference between the shuriken in Zongshiyu's hand and the ordinary shuriken. There is an extremely complex rune on it, which is obscure and difficult to understand. Since this technique was developed by the second generation, Senju Tobirama, few people have mastered it, or have been unable to truly explore the mystery. The only ones who can completely master their masters are the second and fourth generations, and the fourth generation also developed this ninjutsu to the ultimate. But since Minato died, no one can be master anymore. In today's Konoha, only Shiranui Genma, Bionzuladung, and Diwahi can barely use the Flying Thunder Array. And they did not comprehend it by themselves, but were taught by the four generations. Seen that the difficulty of master time and space ninjutsu is high. Although Orochimaru knew what kind of ninjutsu Tokyu was using, he had no time to dodge and could only watch the kunai in Tokyu's hand pierce his heart. Noisy. In an instant, blood splattered everywhere. This scene, Sasuke and Naruto looked sluggish. If nothing else, Orochimaru must be buried under Toki's blow. At this time, Orochimaru's face was frozen with horror, and Tokyu didn't have any unnecessary nonsense, and kicked Orochimaru's stomach. Boom! Orochimaru's body fell toward the ground like this, and at the same time, a scroll was spit out of his mouth. It was the one that was swallowed earlier, the Book of Earth. Boom! With a loud sound, Orochimaru's body smashed to the ground without any suspense, and the sky was filled with smoke and dust. ...